And you already got a subscription. So, yes, hello everybody and welcome to another game dev stream. I'm Felix aka Luxant, and with me in the voice chat right now is Stefan aka Regden, which you can hear now as well.
It's me.
And yes, so today we will work on some technical stuff. Just a little disclaimer, so this is not officially Terra content because Terra is in a pause and we will work officially on Terra starting a little bit later. So this is more like technical work we do in preparation of like new technical things we develop for our technical games, which are very technical. So also we have music. Let me resume this.
Oh, I put a nice track in there.
That's a nice track.
Not this one.
Yeah, that's also nice. Jack Roscoe Demorand is here too. I mean, hello.
I'm only here because of TypeScript. Yes, you will probably see a lot of TypeScript today.
Yeah, there will be a lot of TypeScript today. So that's if you like TypeScript, that will be your stream. I think, did I add a TypeScript hashtag somewhere? Oh yes, I did actually in the tweet that I posted. So is that actually a new viewer or somebody who has watched our streams before?
First, a new viewer.
Oh, nice. So yeah, maybe I can give a little bit of background. Let me just start off some of the stuff here. So I'm just gonna go to the desktop already. Okay, just like a few disclaimers first. Hannah will probably also show up later, at least he said so, in case you're missing Hannah. And yeah, so if you have any questions, of course, just write them in the chat, but we tend to miss questions, so if you write at RadicalFishGames or at Regiden, Radical Regiden, yes, so that usually helps for us to spot the question. And don't feel ashamed writing it several times because like if you really want to have it answered, that's sometimes necessary. Sorry in advance. Also Flora is here, our sound designer. Hello.
Hello there. Hi.
And
also technical artist.
Also technical artist doing all the fancy shader stuff of our new projects. Okay, so just some informations about what we are actually doing here for those who haven't watched us before. We are working on games. Our games are weird in that they're based on web technologies. This year now is officially Project Bob, which is something we're currently working on as a small side project, so to say. It's this game about having transitions between red and blue, and that's something I've developed recently. So you can see we actually have now these transitions here that you can actually swap around, and those are all tile-based graphics down here, and those transitions really just kind of like swap out the graphics on those tiles depending on inside that radius essentially. So that's something I did recently, and the game we worked on before is Crosscode, and I actually have it open here as well because I want so you better understand what I'm working on. I want to show what we did in Crosscode to actually get navigation to work more or less. So here that's our editor for Crosscode. Actually, that's a very good map to show this. So that's one of the maps that you may know or not know. And in Crosscode we already had a navigation system which was already pretty sophisticated, and essentially it was based on tiles. So you just place tiles on the map, and then based on those different color blobs, navigation nodes are generated. So we kind of try to avoid navigation node per tile because that makes it very expensive to compute a path. So having like larger navigation nodes helps a lot to make the computation more feasible in general. So that's why we implemented this. And we also annotate the stuff like where you can walk up. For instance, here you have those nodes to so the system knows there's a stair, so you can just walk up here. Right, there's a stair here, some kind of earth slope. And then you put the same thing on a higher level. And another thing is that we also specify tiles for places where you can jump over. And that way our actors, like enemies and also party members, know where to jump over. And if you test this in the game, let me see if testing actually still works.
It might crash once and then you have to reload.
Yeah. That usually happens in Weltmeister, to be fair. Crosscode playing. Oh, it's playing music, yes. So this is Crosscode, by the way. Let me show. We had this debugging feature where you could actually have a debug view for the navigation map, and I plan to do the same for our new projects.
Probably in perf options?
Yeah, in performance options. That makes sense there. So you see, we actually had. Yeah, I mean that was there all the time because you really need these kind of features to work on navigation maps because you need to see what's actually happened internally. It's really important. Man, there's so many lines here. I wonder. Oh yeah, because that actually makes sense. Each of those lines is a connection to an adjacent node, and like this one has a lot of neighbors. If you look closely, it's can also actually be connected to nodes going upwards too. So there's those connections as well. But you see, it's a pretty big graph that we create in the end. But yeah, so we need those tiles, we need to generate this graph based on these tiles, and then we can just run an A-star navigation algorithm based on the structure, and that usually works. I mean, with a lot of tweaks that ultimately worked well enough. And really, like I always say, like one of the most complicated parts of Crosscode really was the navigation actually. Because tweaking this until everything felt good enough was really tricky at times. So that's why I actually plan to reuse most of this code base. The problem is Crosscode has been written in JavaScript, and our new projects are all written in TypeScript, which is a very nice language to work with. So we need to do some rewriting, and also some of the data structures changed. We don't have simple tile maps, we have height maps now. And that actually makes it simpler to generate these navigation maps to some degree. And so not simply, we don't just use the same code base, we kind of like try to optimize it a little bit because we have better structures now. Bro, TypeScript is easy, just any. Yeah, that's not the goal. I mean, we could do that. That is true. Especially if the data structures would be identical. Wow, I'm not used to playing this game.
We have to go to. We still sometimes use any.
Yeah.
Where it would basically be way more complicated because there's always a way to do using types and interfaces to kind of build complex structures. You did that for the vibes, right? So you get feedback on any sub-implementations of editor configs too. And I recently learned even
TS
more.
ignore. There's TS ignore.
Yeah, just TS ignore every line of code. Just like how to easily double your code base.
Jack Cross Code Morad asks, is there gonna be a horror level in Project Terra like there was in Crosscode? That's not certain, but maybe. Horror level. I'm not sure what you mean. There's like this part of the game.
Oh, you mean like the
Horror quest?
There's the quest.
The Baz and Keep?
Yeah, the Baz and Keep quest, I think. That was actually released for Halloween, like during early access. Quite a long time ago.
Right. I wish TypeScript had a preprocessor.
Mm.
I mean, it's not that bad. I'm sure our Porter person will write that themselves for some stuff. There will be still some stuff where annotations are needed.
Yeah.
I
So,
have one question about the nav map.
yeah.
In the end, is it turned into like a structure of quads and or rectangles and connections to other nodes?
Nodes are not necessarily rectangles. They can actually be, they just have to be somewhat concave. Like here, for instance, you see, this is actually a node. So it's not neither rectangle nor it's just roughly concave. So that's enough usually. So in the end, those all adjacent colored tiles are turned into a node. And they connect to all the nodes which are adjacent and also below and above to some degree. And yeah, so we just have a bunch of nodes, and there's always a way to query which node you're currently standing on by just using the tile information. That's why it's important actually to have these kind of tile per tile information that makes it really efficient to query on what node you're currently standing on.
That makes sense. But in the end, it's less data than each tile.
Yeah.
Like the node structure. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, then you don't have a node per tile. That's the whole
Yeah,
point.
that would be crazy.
I mean,
in the beginning, we had a fixed length of 256.
Yeah.
Which proved to be difficult.
At some point I extended it. Actually, this time back in Crosscode I made something where back in Crosscode I kind of hacked the thing. So you had several grids. In Crosscode it was really simple. You had like in Crosscode you always had a fixed number of heights. So here, for instance, you have 4 different height levels. -1 is water, 0 is like the normal ground, and then 2 heights over there. And usually you only move on between 2. Like there's 0 and 2. So those 2 heights are relevant. Only those actually have a navigation map. And that's just a simple grid going over the whole map. And you only specify those color tiles on places on that grid where this height is relevant. So that's why you don't paint anything here, because that's over like nothing, except for those parts where you can actually jump over. That's where you put those tiles. And that was pretty straightforward to store. So you just had like 2 grids here. But once you actually had to compute the actual node space on that, it actually started being pretty complicated, because you actually started creating the nodes first for each separate grid. Like first I created all the nodes of the first navigation layer, then all the nodes of the second navigation layer, and then when I'm done, I tried to connect them in a post-processing step essentially. And that was kind of like tricky to do. And the nice thing about our new projects is that we have a height map now. So there is not like the thing where we have multiple grids, but instead we only have 1 grid, or like there might be smaller grids on top of that, because we can have additional small height maps for stuff like tunnels or bridges mostly. And like each of this grid also includes a height per tile. So usually what we can do is just say we have this height map and we put 1 grid over that height map, and we usually have most navigation nodes covered with that. So for all heights especially. So we don't need to make a grid per height, but just 1 grid per height map. And the only thing that we cannot do now is the jumping paths, because those have to be somehow painted above the grid. And for this I planned that you simply can add arbitrary tiles in the air. So there's like, there will be special mapping modes where you can just add any kind of tile in the air, and just, well, we have to see how that works, but you probably need to be a bit careful with that too, so you don't just spam air tiles all over the place. But you know, usually that you should be a bit careful with those. You probably need to add tools in case some weird things happen, so you can easily delete them again. But I think that's currently, like, at least it's the most flexible way to do this. So you have 1 grid per height map, and then you have additional floating tiles. And those floating tiles can be just placed anywhere, and they probably will be the minority. So most tiles will be on the height map. And then there will be a few which are floating for jumping connections, essentially. And once you have this kind of structure, it's you can actually create a structure which is much easier to parse, and that's something I implemented already, at least in theory. I wrote a whole lot of code here. I actually didn't test a single line of code of this. So this will be funny, and that's definitely not something I will do in this stream. But essentially I created now one structure that stores all tiles of a map. And it's kind of funny because it actually uses a linked list. That's something I actually never did for a long time. But it turned out that's actually the best structure here. Because the idea is you have one nav map. It has the size which is identical as the game map, not the height map, the game map. And then you have one grid of nav tiles. So there's just one area of nav tiles. Like there's one nav tile per grid on the map. So there's like, for instance, this map here has 80 times 80, so there would be 6,400, right? Yeah, 6,400 tiles, nav tiles on this map. And the nav tile itself, it stores like the Z base and the Z. You actually need those two informations for something. The source value, which is essentially like the color that we have painted in crosscode, plus a bit of additional information. It's all encoded in one number. And then you have actually a reference to the nav node. This is important because, again, at any time, at any point we want to start a search, we first need to find out on which node we are actually standing. And that's what we use this nav tile for. So we just query on what tile are we standing, then we just get the nav tile, and then we just check which nav node belongs to this tile. So, and the whole clue is that a nav tile can always link to another nav tile, and that's like the nav tile that's above the current nav tile. So you always start with the lowest nav tile, and then it links to another nav tile if there is one above. So essentially, in the most cases, and like probably 90 to 95% of all cases, you usually only have one nav tile. So it's a very efficient structure for this case, because you essentially just have the stator and next is simply null. And for those few cases where you have multiple, you can't just easily map them by just linking a few known nav tiles
Felix,
to the thing.
Can you zoom into the
Yes, I
code
can
a little
zoom
bit?
in, yeah. So it's like, I was at first actually had a similar structure with arrays, but the downside is you always had to declare an array, even though in most cases you wouldn't need it, because in most cases you only have one nav tile. And then I had something where you have an object that stores a nav tile and an array to additional nav tiles. But then I realized, well, I can just make a linked list, and that works pretty neat, actually, I think.
That's
So
true. I have one question. That's for the jump tile, the tiles that are in the air, right?
not only, also for like, for instance, a bridge. If you have a bridge, you actually have two nav tiles above each other, right? So it's for those cases as well.
Okay. Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
That's also why there's a Z base and Z value. If D base and Z are actually identical, you know that's an air node. That is kind of like some node that is just floating above some kind of height map. So that's kind of like how you can detect this, because for height maps, if you have Z base identical to Z, it's actually invisible, so it shouldn't be relevant for navigation in the first place. Something like that anyway. Will you have nav tiles? I don't get this one.
Enough
Okay.
tiles.
Yeah, no. Probably, yeah. Hopefully. Did the floating tiles in crosscode for jumping need any special code so enemies don't try to roam around there, for example, or did you handle it the same as the other node? Yeah, like the way those air nodes are handled is a whole different topic, and the way it was handled in crosscode is actually you cannot stand on those air nodes, obviously. So there was like a post-processing step where nodes which are connected to those are actually called air nodes because they're in the air. Whenever you have an adjacent air node, it kind of tries to connect directly to the opposite neighbor of that node. So that is essentially what we do. So we kind of like make a connection that skips over the air node, and then we also calculate stuff like what is the distance between those two edges, how far needs the entity be able to jump in order to do that, to use this way. So that's all happens in the background essentially. Another fancy feature of those navigation maps is actually that they can be modified during runtime. We actually sometimes use that. So when certain obstacles show up, certain nodes will be deleted and recomputed. So that's another feature that I try to just reuse. Essentially, I want to keep things similar to crosscode because it did a good job overall, the navigation. So there's no reason to just rewrite everything.
I have another question.
Yeah.
So we will be able to shoot enemies at any height, right? And
yeah, that's true.
And there could be enemies on walls, right?
No.
No?
No. Yeah, I mean, yes, there can be, but
making that work with the navigation map is probably complicated.
We will
right?
not have navigation nodes on walls. Forget it. No. And you don't need that. You don't need, we don't need enemies walking on walls. If there's a static enemy stuck on the wall, that's no problem because for party members, that's the same as the enemy standing on the ground here, essentially. And it's flying. So if you have a flying enemy above this point, it's the same as an enemy stuck on the wall. And our AI in crosscode already could handle that. So that will be something we can handle in Terra as well. And I mean, we will not have enemies crawling on the wall.
You're actually right. It's kind of like a special case of a flying enemy.
Yeah, it's essentially a flying enemy. And for that, you just query it if it's flying, essentially. And then you just react accordingly. But especially, we did have certain annotations for enemies so party members act in a decent way. And we sometimes annotated only attack with ranged weapons. And that's usually all you need for those kind of enemies. Yeah, no wall walking spiders. That's also some kind of tricky with the perspective we are having. I mean, our game is 3D, but you will never see the back wall in the game. And usually it's difficult to see the side walls too. So, yeah, we will not have enemies walking on walls, I think. Except maybe for certain boss enemies, because for boss enemies you can always trick things and it's not a big deal. It's because you don't need very flexible
static
AI.
environment or fixed environment.
Exactly.
Stuff like that.
12 months later, we need this feature at all costs. Yeah, I think that's very unlikely.
That's why I'm asking right now. That's actually
I think after 10 years we have some
I think we have a pretty good idea. We have a good intuition now about what is really important, what isn't. And that's why we are mostly just creating tools now, because we learned those are really important.
And it's also not a good way to get shit done if you like thinking, oh, what about this? What about this? What about this? And then you get caught in unnecessary details that you might not even use in the end.
Yeah, That's like, but I tend to be the kind of guy who says like, nah, we don't need this. This is really necessary and all that. So I like the
I
opposite.
mean, yeah,
of
that's
an
why you
idea
have a
type.
team that can tell you, okay,
Yeah.
I think we need this for sure.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's why I asked for as a question, and
Yeah.
also I explained at the beginning, like, okay, that's different to crosscode. So of course we didn't need it in crosscode, but maybe that's a possibility.
Yeah, the thing is, to me, in terms of gameplay and how enemies are moving, Terror will be very similar to crosscode. The only exception really is that you can't shoot up, and actually some that might turn out to make things a bit tricky for detecting. Like in crosscode, it was rather simple. If you want to shoot something, you first need to be on the same level, and then you need to be able to check if there's any obstacle in the way. And for Terror, it's more flexible. Like you can even shoot when you are below the same level, and that might make things a little bit tricky. But I'm sure we can find an algorithm for that too. Actually, that's another thing that we use the nav map for, which is another important feature. It's actually a very good structure to quickly compute if you can shoot at something. Because instead of doing like a full precision physics query, you just query those nodes essentially. So you just check, okay, are those two entities kind of like between two nodes which can be connected, and then you kind of like skip the whole physics query, and it tends to be much faster, I think. And it's another, like, it's also nice to kind of like find a spot where like an enemy can quickly move to. For instance, when escaping, you don't want to simply run away, but you actually want to run in a direction where you can actually escape. Like, for instance, just assume the enemy would be here in this corner, the player is here. The enemy, if he wants to escape, actually had to run down past the player. And a way to do that is, quite ironically, I take like the player or like the thing you want to escape from and just paint a radius around it, and at each point I check, can I actually run to this point? And then I just choose the one that's nearest to your current position. And if the player is here and the enemy is here, that will probably be like a point like this one or like this one. So, and that's how enemies actually run away from you in crosscode. And again, that's another system. That's why navigation systems are really a pain, but they're also really important, like very powerful if you have a good one, I think. So that helps a lot to scripting enemy behavior that works well in all kind of environments. But okay, now I talked like, I think, half an hour. Hi Shadarish.
Alright, then start working. So I can start talking about video games.
Do that.
Yellow Camel asked if the flying moths had a different nav mesh, but they didn't.
No.
They were just able to. They were just flying, and they could stand on.
The trick for flying entities is they use the same crit, only they can also fly upwards. That's why, like, the crit actually stores all the connections downwards, so you can actually jump down. And for flying entities, they can just fly the opposite direction because they are flying. They can fly up. They can fly the walls up easily. So that's why the whole idea. And they just kind of like move over the nav map with a certain height. And the only thing that's tricky for flying entities are actually tunnels. So that's still something we need to be careful about. So if you have flying entities, tunnels might turn out to be tricky, but maybe we'll find a way to solve that with Terra. But honestly, I would try to avoid flying entities close to tunnels and pressures and all that.
He said no.
Yeah. Please, no tunnels.
Oh yeah, function. We indie developers, if you get somewhat successful, we live in a nice space where we're allowed to create the games we want, have kind of a good enough living situation. I mean, it's not like we're rich or anything, but I can eat, you know,
Yeah.
and that's nice to have food on the table.
I think we're actually currently approaching like average income in Germany, which isn't too bad for game developers. So
Showing that it is possible.
yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I always find it interesting in indie games. Indie games are always allowed more chances too, right? You have like giant ass companies, and when they make a game, there's sort of expectations not only in players but also in whoever owns the company, right? Like the people behind Bobby Kotick, so to speak.
Yeah. I also should mention we actually got a couple of subscriptions. I never said anything, so before I forget it, we got one from Yellow Camel, tier 1, who subscribed for 5 months already, saying yay. Thank you. We got another Prime subscription by T. Batzel. Hello, T. Batzel.
Thank you.
Okay. Let me see.
I hope
think
that
there was
Linus
another
will
one.
shout out Terror when it's
Yeah,
done.
there were a few more.
There was one by Black Eagle who subscribed for 22 months already. Thank you very much. And then there is like the nerd who speaks
Give
English.
us your money.
Who subscribed with Prime for the 8th month. Hello, nerd who speaks English.
Yes.
Thank you.
Give me your money.
And
And
there's also
Kovap subscribed for tier 1 for the 36th month. Thank you. And most importantly, thank you, Flora, for subscribing for the 39th month now.
damn.
Kovap actually
I'm sorry.
said,
I would use my Prime subscription too, but I always use it on Critical Role.
Ah.
Oh, well.
So we got another Aaron subscription by Aaron Music. Thank you. Saying he says hi. And we got another one by iRoman591 for 39 months. We got another one by L20022
Yo, Pork chat? Poggers in chat?
His stream is very
Which
technical.
Twitch?
You know what else is technical? The fact you can subscribe for free if one links up their Amazon Prime account. Yes, thank you for those information. Also one by Yui Cannon, thank you. Who subscribed for 24 months. That's exactly 2 years. That's correct. Happy New Year.
Damn.
Yes, also Happy New Year to everyone. I actually forgot that. We have actually New Year. It just took us almost a month, at least me, it took almost a month me to
I mean,
do
I
another
streamed on the
stream.
3rd.
Yeah, you already did like a whole bunch of streams, I saw that. So, we got one by Barkerfish, also 2 years ago. 2 full years of supporting RFG already. Time sure flies quite fast. I've been rather busy working on the new personal Twitter banner lately, but figured I'd stop by here for a bit this lovely 4 a.m. in the morning. Yes, greetings over there. I think to Japan. Wow. Yeah. Very different time zone.
Thank you for coming by.
Thanks for all those subscriptions, and sorry for almost forgetting to say anything about it.
There's of course late as usual with a Prime subscription.
Late as usual. Okay. Thank you, late as usual, for your Prime subscription. Thank you for reminding me to use my. Okay.
I was really waiting for that to be the last one.
That's nice. Okay.
Yo, I see some porgies in the chat, some emotes. That's how Twitch chat works, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay, but yeah, I think that's.
I also have just a little request with no like further intention or anything.
Mm.
But have you shown anything we've done, especially
No,
like,
no, no.
for example,
We're currently not working on anything.
We're not
Okay.
working on Project Terra, Flora. We're only working on
Yeah.
Project Bob. Remember,
Remember?
it's an official stream. So. But I'm sure there will be a lot of show once we start again with Project Terra. Sometime
I
in
will work so
February.
fast and show so many things.
There will be so many things that will be developed very quickly, I'm sure. Mm.
The only thing that we could show is probably editor stuff.
Yeah.
Right, because our editor is obviously... You can do... Right now we're creating Project Bob kind of to pass the time.
Mm.
Alright, bye Yui.
Bye, Yui.
Yui's
Bye.
our community artist.
who's that?
Very...
Hello, I'm Herr Decay.
Hi, Hair Decay. You are
That's
very late.
how I, Herr Decay, sound like.
Totally.
Hey, we need that sound, that certain sound when
We don't have the
searching.
soundboard, I'm sorry. I broke my Node.js and everything doesn't work.
And
Nothing
I have
works
to
here.
go again.
You broke your nose, DS.
Mm.
Noted.
I broke my Node.js.
Jesus Christ. Yes, yes. Oh, it's, by the way, I tricked you. It's actually me, Gegel.
Hmm.
Oh, wow.
It's Hannah.
tricked us so
Surprise.
good.
Yeah, never saw that coming.
Wow.
I guess I guess I should at some point reclaim my flu in the Crosscode Discord.
What?
Because I'm still called Gegel in there. I never reclaimed my flu.
The fuck is a flu?
Flu. The flu that you removed from my nickname.
I don't know what you mean.
No.
Oh.
Your name has always been Gaggle.
Gegel.
Gaggle.
This is a known fact.
Yes.
Gaggle
All right, this is a good
giggling.
this is a good segue. This is a good segue. A known fact, which is also a sentence that it comes up in the Great Ace Attorney way too much.
Which one?
This is a known
Great
fact.
Ace. Yeah, like the amount of times where they sit in court and say this is a fact, and you sit there. No, it's not a fact just because you said it. You know, like testimony is not fact.
That reminds me of like certain YouTube wannabe smart people who constantly say, "Yeah, this is a fact." I guess
those that report about drama on YouTube, like once or twice.
yeah, those two.
Once or twice a year, I give myself the pleasure of watching YouTube drama commentators unfurl the hidden secrets of other YouTube creators, and the hypocrisy in those videos is always palatable. Mm.
I think the only drama YouTuber I watch is Video Game Donkey.
Yeah, like he had some beef
Okay.
with that one Minecraft dude. I already forgot.
Wait, what the heck? I don't know. This.
Yeah, he
I
was
don't know
very
that-
serious.
Yeah, and he's well known for his strong opinions about monkeys.
Mm.
Hmm.
Yeah, he made an entire month of Donkey Kong video.
Ah, okay. I think I maybe know or maybe not.
I'm too old for this.
Yeah.
It was just like 2 videos in December about Donkey Kong or something, and they were
No,
really short, and then it was just random stuff.
So,
the
that
best
was the
video
video.
is no video today, and was just 10 seconds of blackness. Just.
hmm.
And this is still not taken down, right? Like this is apparently a video which YouTube happily shows the ads on. Like, absolutely no problem. This is content.
Yes, it's good.
We will. Before I just want to go into this. We will not speak about the cursed letters. All right. Do not mention them. I do not want to hear it.
What cursed letters?
Letters.
Sorry. I didn't.
Yeah,
say
those
Cursed.
letters.
The cursed
3 letters.
The cursed
that are-
monkey letters.
Oh.
So basically, we will talk. There will be no fucking talks about letters.
No fucking talks. Yes, that's okay. I get it.
Okay.
Talks. Just talk. There's no plural there. You just say
Okay.
there's no
Talk.
talk about something.
Well, yeah, whatever. Whatever.
Grammar is important. It's a healthy sign of a healthy society.
Oh, there was actually a question quite some time ago. The new game will have a native version for Linux. I mean, we don't want to promise anything quite yet, but I mean, the thing is, web technologies make it somewhat feasible to port. That being said, we had some tests and it didn't run too well on Mac, like one last time we tried, so it might be a bit more tricky compared to crosscode. But yeah, like we can at least try to get it on Linux as well. I mean, that is at least one of those advantages of using web technologies.
It might also be possible that once we like start porting again, we can like make a kind of executable, right? Like a compiled version of the game and then compile that on Linux.
That's true.
It might even run faster, right? Because it's compiled.
Yeah,
Who knows?
theoretically. Like this, the whole thing about TypeScript is that it should be easier to compile it to another language because you actually have good.
Yeah, that's why it's important.
There's like
that
a to do. Explain blocks, Felix.
Oh yeah, I wrote that. That's for me. Which class is that?
Yeah, we talked about that.
Game map data.
Game map data.
I think we wrote it while we talked about editor stuff because we weren't entirely sure because you explained.
We were sure that what tags are, but I wanted you to add the comment.
Okay, good. Yeah.
For it. And the same for the render hooks below. But I thought maybe that's something Flora is more adept to do. As you can see, we actually do. Look at this. There's documentation there.
Yeah, we actually do comments. I don't know what's happening. Like, it's weird.
What is this cursed content?
It's like we're becoming professional. Just fast forward 10 years and our code base will look like Fizz Buzz Enterprise Edition. I tell you.
God.
Okay.
That's why
I will never go to that level, or actually, I will never be able to that.
I mean, TypeScript already kind of employs some of those generic thingies with the integrated types for like omitting stuff. Did you know there is a type in TypeScript that allows you to make every interface value or property optional? So you don't have to write the question mark behind everything.
Oh, really?
You can just say this variable should be a partial, and then in the generic you put the interface.
Oh.
You can also say omit, and with omit you say take the first type, the first generic, right? And the second one is another type that is the intersection of the keys that you don't want to have in the interface. This is useful for instance. Yeah, that's
some magic.
There's also recently found the uppercase and lowercase and template string types, which I think we never will use because this is truly just mean for the porter, right? Because I'm sure this bullshit he would have to
what kind of bullshit? I'm sorry, I didn't listen.
template string types.
Oh,
You know, the things
yeah.
I showed you?
Oh yeah, that's just. I mean, it's very cool, but you know,
We rather avoid it, I think.
well, the thing is, I'm sure if you tell him about it, he will actually say, "Oh, that's cool. Please do that, so I have a challenge." He seems to be this kind of guy, actually. So
because I wanted to make his life easier. I even added some code that gets automatically generated when we save certain databases. So he has like those types for the option keys, right? That all just get plugged together, so we have our keys, and you never can request an option key that isn't in the database. Hopefully it will help.
TSU to ties are awesome. Yeah. TS is definitely an awesome language, and I'm actually really happy we made that switch.
Me too.
Like, I just like when
fun.
looking back at the code base in Crosscode, it kind of almost feels like
It
a
is.
miracle how we managed to
Holy
write this whole thing. Like once
It
you
is,
get,
it is the Wild West in Crosscode code.
I mean, actually, in fact, I think I need to open it anyway. So, if I actually import some of the of the Crosscode code, the Crosscode code. Let me show you like.
code.
I mean, also they at first you also think that hey, writing in TypeScript requires you to type more, but IDEs are so good that I feel like I'm typing less because we now have fixed types. So TypeScript and the IDE always knows what I'm looking for, right?
You know, things we did in Crosscode a lot, which turned out to be one of the biggest headaches when it came to porting, is using generic objects. Let me show, like, where do I create edges? Create
I know
edge.
what you mean. I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, create edge here. For instance, here I create an edge. It's just this. It's an object. And the downside is, like, this is not like the final object. So it's created here, and then I go to calculate edge block, and I just add like this block property. And I don't know, like we may have added even more properties. And this is like a thing that is horrible for optimizations, because the best thing you can do is use consistent object structures. And so that's something we just never do. Like if you want to do this in TypeScript, you have to at least define an interface. But I usually actually go ahead and just create classes for everything. Actually, right now, currently I have classes just storing 2 properties, but you know, that's
perfect.
Those classes are now well defined, and you can actually attach functions to them, and it's essentially for free. You don't. It's not a lot of overhead to do this. So
interfaces are still great for data layout and
yeah,
configuration.
Right. Those things that come from JSONs essentially.
Atifiance says, I'm somewhat disappointed by the stream. You've said it would be about coding, and you've actually been talking about coding for the last half hour instead of getting immediately derailed by RD's game talk or Hennes weep talk.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
I came late, so that might be a reason.
Just work, Felix. Come on, bro.
Yeah, okay.
Don't enjoy your weekend. Come on.
Also, we got a message from Supermath DX. Hello, Radical Fish Games. Just wanted to tell you directly that I loved Crosscode. It was the best story told by a video game and the only that made me cry.
Oh, wow.
Good luck to Project Terra. Wow.
But that can't be. There's no emotions in Crosscode.
Yeah.
I promise.
No,
during the release.
Zero
No.
emotions.
Emotions and no metaphors.
But thank you very much, yeah. No, I'm just joking. The thing is, like, there was this running joke that I hate emotions. Or, like, that I always have to
It's a known fact.
It's a known fact. It's a known fact that I think emotions are overrated, especially when it comes to artificial intelligence, that people make a huge deal out of that. So, and this kind of like turned into this, I don't like emotions, I hate emotions. And then when Crosscode was released, I said there will be no emotions in this game. And yeah. Still people start crying about this. Why does this happen? I don't get it. I failed.
maybe it's because things having no emotions is so sad for emotional beings. Because they think, oh no, they
That's
can't
sad.
have emotions. So sad. Play des parts plier plapp. Whatever that is.
Escapicho.
Oh,
Des cappuccino, right?
Desperados.
hi, Ro.
Hello.
Greetings from Germany.
Greetings from Germany.
Oh man, I lost so much money on
Long-time watcher,
AGDQ
first time
this
What?
like I lost so much money. Like this is like the AGDQ standard joke. Greetings from Germany. Long time watcher, first time donator. Like I lost a lot of coin this year, but we broke record. We got like 3.4 million
Oh, nice.
in the AGDQ, which is damn. Even though it's like maybe it's specifically because it's an online event this time around. But yeah, kudos to all those organizers as always, and all the prizes and all the work.
I actually haven't watched a single speedrun this year. I need to rewatch some of them, like the VODs.
There were some nice, especially the randomizer runs were pretty nice.
Right, they're interesting even with games we've seen before.
Yeah.
I still wonder, when will we get a crosscode speedrun on an AGDQ?
I think the registration-wise, we already had some, but I think the team just didn't take them so far.
Oh.
Crosscode
I mean,
speedruns.
there are many categories, and they fit in different time slots easily.
Yeah, depends.
Like-
Yeah, of course, if you have like the like no glitch run, which obviously takes a while longer, but like the
But
Like
New Game
the-
Plus,
any percent-
percent?
yeah, I
This is
mean,
like
yeah,
10
okay,
minutes or what?
but it's also glitched, right? It's like you still make use of the save glitch, but if you don't do that, then 10 minutes is not possible.
By the way, just a note about the navigation stuff. I will not add like specific navigation data, but essentially I will add top tiles, and you can just add several information that you put on top of tiles, but they can also float. And so I think we might need this for other things as well, not just navigation, I think. So at least I can think of some use cases, like we had this idea of marking like the map borders, you know, like marking things where you're not supposed to run on, and that will be cut away in the map overview, you know. So you can cut
Yeah.
away like this kind of stuff, and you could map this with the same data structure essentially.
That would be nice, yeah.
Yeah. So I think I will just use one generic top tile structure, and navigation will be one of the entries. Yeah, I will do that.
Then I can add that to the image creator thingy. Also, I wanted to like work on it, like the there were still some things I wanted to test out, especially when we have that kind of top section cut away. I can see a lot of small pixels jutting out, and I think what I want to do is, if there's like no surrounding tiles, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tiles surrounding that are connected, then you can just smooth it away, or maybe even add smooth pixels in between. We'll see what we'll do, but something like that.
That sounds good.
But anyway, chat, I finished Shadowbringers, Final Fantasy XIV. I did it. It only took me a month, but
Wow.
here we go. Yeah, like still, like obviously I had work and I played other games, but or I, just slept. Yeah, I finished yet, but now I don't want to play the final expansion because I'm so burnt out from the
Oh no.
lackluster content in those like big areas. Like Final Fantasy XIV is more like an RPG with MMO stuff on top of it. So the story and your character is kind of still the centerpiece. But obviously there's a lot of work that needs to be done for this kind of stuff. So in every area they do the same kind of like gameplay loop where you have to help the locals, and then the locals will give you some MacGuffin that ranges from understandable to absolutely bonkers. That I need a mine lorry to open a door because the door could not otherwise open. I'm a little Will Godslayer. I can open that door, no problem. Like the bullshitting is like, oh my god, it was too much. I think I skipped probably 50% of the cutscenes, like for sure every cutscene that was not voiced, and I still know exactly what is happening in the game. Like,
wow, okay.
At that point, you really have to ask yourself, do we really need to write that much text? Because people, like, it's the same as with Great Ace Attorney, right, Felix? Where they,
yeah.
They're kind of like, where you think like, yeah, get to the point, bro. I get it.
I mean, the thing is, it's not just Ace Attorney in general. It's just like the old games, the original trilogy was still okay, but I get like the feeling the more storage they have, the more wasteful they kind of like tend to get. Like sometimes we think this, like for the old DS, you kind of like had more limitations. You couldn't just write so much text as you wanted, so they kind of like had to be somewhat shorter in the dialogues. And I think that really was really well for the writing, because they kind of like couldn't go overboard in long conversations. You already noticed when they switched from the Game Boy Advance. It actually started on Game Boy Advance, right? When I switched to the DS and they had this new case, you already noticed, man, they kind of talk a bit more, don't they? And
yeah, because the case was technically added after they already finished the first three cases, three games.
It's like the fourth case, or the fifth case of the first game. They added this for the DS especially, which is a very good case, and that one still was very good. But you notice,
but still a little bit of weird, because
they're like chatting a bit more than you used to. And then like we played the whole trilogy and it was great. And then I fast forwarded to like the new game. I forgot the name.
Dual Destinies or
no.
Ace Attorney?
The Great Ace Attorney. That's now in ancient Japan and England. You know, this kind of stuff. And holy shit, man, it was really hard. I only played the first case, honestly, but it felt like it took like 10 times as much as in Phoenix
just
Wright.
For the, like, I played the first 5 cases on my phone, right? And I don't have a timer for that. But the second set of 5 cases, I played on the PC version, and I took 40 hours for that. Which is a long fucking time for a visual novel. And I didn't even like check everything, right? Normally you can like check your surroundings and get some flavor text and everything. I on purpose didn't do that because I already felt like they take way too long to get to the point, and it feels a bit drawn out unnecessarily. So like I get it, they want to like have some mystery, but it kind of because of that, they also had to write dialogues in a way where you think like, this is bullshit. Why are you not saying this to me right now?
Yeah. It's like, oh, come on, there was this one case, the start case. Essentially, at some point, it was too obvious to me what it was actually happened, and they just didn't stop talking. I was just keep saying, I don't know what it was, but I don't know, like something about that steak or something. Like I just kept saying, it's that thing. When do you finally say it? It's that we all know what it is, and I just had to go through.
Yeah, they keep saying
like
one
50 to 100 sentences, and then they finally got to this point. It's like
it's so funny. It's so funny, man. It's so good.
I just imagine like a skit, like a little video as a joke, where the villains only talk about that thing or that technique, and they never mention it. and like in the end they realize they have been talking about completely different things.
It is absolutely like you will, even when you are asked to present evidence, you present the evidence. You already talked about having evidence, and then when you present it, everyone has to say, "Is that? No, you don't mean." Yes,
Oh,
this
no.
piece of evidence will prove entirely that the argument was inconsistent. What?
No.
Yes, this is the argument. And it's like keeps going, and you're like, shut the fuck up, please.
Pretty
Yeah,
much.
that's-
Oh my
like that.
god.
It's
It's
really
like an
painful.
infinite a build up in a song,
Yeah.
and it doesn't get to the drop.
And
Yeah,
it's,
yeah,
it's
it's
like,
like-
and it's like really a shame in my opinion, because like those games still have probably very interesting plot and nice characters, but
Yes,
I mean
absolutely.
this kind of writing really makes it less enjoyable for me. It's like it's really a chore now
I-
to actually go through
I
those
like
scenes.
and I like it a little bit. When they do it for 1 or 2 sentences, I'm fine
Yeah,
with it.
of
Like,
course.
It adds a bit of drama to it.
Yeah, sure. I
But,
mean, it's always about balance, but like they just go so much overboard with this in the new
Yeah,
games.
that's,
By the
that's
way-
also something. You present the evidence, and first the prosecutor is like, what? No way. But then they're suddenly like, huh, so I see you found the evidence. And I'm like, how could you know about this shit? I picked it up. You didn't have that. Like, because in like the Ace Attorney world, you do not have to register evidence before the court
yes.
day begins. You can just present it in the court like some magic show.
Yeah, and for some reason, there's several cases of forged evidence. I don't know how that would happen.
That's true.
Little aside, we got a Twitch Prime subscription by Jacross, code Morante.
Oh yeah, thank you very much. So you figured out a way to do it.
It's pretty nice that you can do a subscription with Twitch Prime and you don't even have to pay for it.
Yeah, it's nice.
And it still supports your favorite creators or us. Nice. Very nice. And talking about text, I still haven't played neither Final Fantasy XIV nor The Great Ace Attorney, but I still think or suspect that you are very whiny about it and you haven't seen true horror until you played Arknights.
Okay.
No, it's not.
It's actually like the best argument that I will never try Arknights now. Thank you.
I mean, what does it have to do with it being 10? It's a video game. Even if it's gacha, it's a video game.
It's not really a video game. Let's be honest.
It is a video game. It's more a video game than Ace Attorney if you wanna go that route.
Nah.
I mean, it has gameplay. It has good gameplay actually, but I mean, still gacha.
Press X to doubt, chat.
No, I stand by that. Arknights has very good gameplay. However, and it also has a good story. I mean, the plot, the world building is great, but god damn it, man, they could really trim like the 2/3 of the text and still get like the point across in their stupid dialogue. It's so ridiculous how long it takes for the scenes to go through.
Yeah.
Felix, why aren't you Arknight's editor to like cut down the text, please? You have to help me.
I don't know. I'm sorry. It's not.
I mean, to their credit, there is a very good skip button that gives you like a 2-sentence rundown of what happens in the scene.
Okay, that's at least neat that they do that. But you know, it's like if people have this option, it's such a waste to think, oh, now I can write as much as I want, and no.
It's like,
I mean,
And as comparison, something that I really liked about a game I'm currently playing.
Hi, Zoe, by the way. So.
Hello. That's called Nobody Saves the World. They make heavy use of something that I liked in Phoenix Wright 2, which is that text boxes have at most 2 or 3 lines.
That's
right?
actually, I
And
like this too, yeah.
Yeah. And in the first Ace Attorneys, that was great because it also made them like condense information and keep like it all snappy. And Nobody Saves the World does that too. I found myself, even though this game has no voice acting, reading the text because I feel like, oh yeah, this is information. I don't feel overwhelmed. Like it's not written in an archaic style of English. It doesn't like make me feel I'm dumb because it's pandering or it's like hand holding me. And it just goes to show you, like, these are indie developers, right? The same guys who did Guacamelee.
What kind of game is it again?
It's actually let me talk about this because Nobody Saves the World is actually a good game. It's a top-down RPG that plays in a world where you are a character called Nobody, and you can transform into different archetypes and monsters of the Dungeons and Dragons type, right? You can be a magician, you can be a bodybuilder, you can be a literal egg, you can be a turtle, and every class has like little tasks that you need to accomplish to level them up, and then you get more skills, and to level up other classes, you sometimes need to combine those skills. And so you're always switching between all the classes, which is pretty nice. Like I found myself really engaged by this game. Constantly giving me small, like, oh, there's a level up, or there's a little loot, and really well made. So, I like, the writing is obviously more on the funny side. It's a little bit like poking fun at the typical RPG tropes. It breaks the fourth wall all the time.
Original. I've never seen that before.
I mean, if you played Guacamelee, that's kind of the same.
Yeah, I know.
It has a lot of wackiness and lots of what's it called? Skeletal animations. And something I found interesting. It's a top-down game, just like Crosscode, right? And but they only use 4 directions for the player character, and I cannot tell you how much I hate it. I'm too used to Crosscode, you know. Crosscode had like the 8 directions for the player character, and I'm too used to it. It feels weird on a controller to press left and down, and the character has either the down face or the left face, and flickers around all the time.
I can see that.
Alright. Bye, Chile.
My sushi arrived.
Yay! Okay.
Miles Investigations 2 that didn't come out. Yeah, like that's so sad. Like the first game comes out in overseas, right? And I played that one, and it ends on a cliffhanger, and you think like, would be nice to play the second game. Something I actually liked about the Great Ace Attorney, like all the 10 cases are linked together, and that's an achievement in itself.
That's true.
Like, I was surprised that everything is somewhat connected.
Really, everything.
Yeah, like even from the first case on, I was surprised. Like they really, like some stuff. Obviously, during the game, you're like, oh, like this is my suspicion. I think that, and that's probably going to be the twist. And it's always nice if the game manages to say nope by placing some clever red herrings. Because after like 6 games of Ace Attorney, if you are like a veteran, you kind of look for those, right? You're like, I already know what you're playing at. That's why I like Dual Destinies. Man, that game had me.
Dual Destinies was great, yeah. It was one of the best twists.
Did not see that coming.
Yeah. That's a question, I think. Hi, I recently started learning C3 and about HTML5 games. Do you think in the future consoles will allow HTML5 game without having to have some company port a game to native for $. I don't think that's very likely, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, it's too embedded.
The technology is really not mainstream enough for that. And I don't know, it's like for consoles, it might be too risky to really fully support HTML5 because it's so dynamic. So I think they might be afraid people can run any kind of software on it because that way, or I don't know. I think that's usually some of the arguments.
What is, however, possible, like with the advent of stuff like TypeScript, as Felix said earlier, it's much more likely that it is easier to port stuff. And I think in a way, Microsoft had that in the back of their mind. Like,
so something I can suggest is well, you can try to go the crosscode way. Essentially, if you do HTML5 and you really want to work with this technology, simply focus on PC and Linux and Mac. And if you are successful enough on those platforms, you can still do the port later. I mean, that's essentially what we did. Because I don't know, like those platforms, PC still is one of the most popular and best platforms for indies, I think. The next probably is Switch, but yeah.
But Felix, don't forget how Switch made Hollow Knight is successful.
No, it didn't. So. But something I can recommend, if you want to create a game with HTML5, you need to use the language in a good way, because if you just do any kind of code, it will be more and more difficult to port. Essentially, you need to use JavaScript in a way very similar to just Java. That's essentially the secret. Don't do crazy stuff with throwing around function pointers and I don't know. Just use classes. Use ECMAScript 6 classes, or even better, use TypeScript with classes and interfaces. You should know about what is expensive, what isn't. Use consistent classes. Try to avoid creating too many generic objects and throwing them away immediately. You need to be careful not to create too much garbage. So the thing is, writing any kind of code with HTML5 is very easy. Creating small mini games in HTML5 is also easy if they don't need to run everywhere fast. But if you want to create a good, complicated game in HTML5, you really need to understand what you can do and what you can't, because otherwise I think you might end up with something that might be very difficult to port. So that's actually why I would recommend first learning other languages than HTML5, honestly. Usually, if you know how to work with Java or C and C++ a bit, you can actually very quickly go back to just JavaScript and just make sure you use it in a good way so it's fast. And then porting is feasible, I think.
Phil also says that there is the WebView 2 for games on the Xbox. And you are correct in that. However, this is not really good for the complexity that we had. For simple games, this will be fine, but as soon as you do more complex stuff, the performance will likely go down, because I imagine that the Xbox will have an emulator that kind of sandboxes the app. And that means there's kind of an application running an application inside an application.
I'm actually not 100%. I don't know much about the web view. It's possible that the Xbox may have a web view that's actually fast enough for some games. But
for simple games, for sure.
Like, the thing is that there's always the thing. If you want to have good performance, you need the console to really optimize JavaScript. And I know that consoles, even if they have a web view, they might opt not allow that. So essentially they just execute JavaScript in a slower way. So they don't compile it in time and optimize it. And then performance still ends up slower compared to how it is on Chrome, for instance, on a PC. So that might be the case, but I'm not 100% sure. I just know that for the Xbox, I think that it's more feasible. but definitely not on the Switch. It's like you cannot expect this to happen for the Switch. I think it's also in the interest of making games that run with the limited hardware and don't waste too much energy. So they probably really want to have the good performance, which is hard to achieve with just vanilla HTML5. Gabi says I had to get more RAM in order to play Crosscode without it freezing whenever I used the heat combat art, ironically enough. That's interesting that RAM was the issue. The thing is, we like the current Node WebKit version of Crosscode actually has those weird issues where in certain situations with certain combat arts it slows down really dramatically for some time and then it goes faster again, and it's even reproducible. But I'm 100% sure that's a Node WebKit issue. We probably could fix it by updating Node WebKit, but I was just too lazy to do that because upgrading Node WebKit is always a pain. Because then things might break for other players, it's a huge amount of stress.
And usually during development we are all fixed to a version. I think right now the newest version, which I by the way tested recently, still doesn't fix the debug issue and now throws warnings because it can't find the source maps. So you can't even debug it correctly.
Oh boy.
Which is just precious. And the release version of, like, there's a difference between SDK and the normal versions of the NVGS.
Yeah.
Right, we obviously use the SDK version, so we have the debug tools. But there might be slight differences there, and it's always like... it doesn't get better with Electron, sadly.
Yeah, I mean, it's based on the same code base. Essentially, what we're annoyed about is neither Node WebKit nor Electron. It's the Chromium code base, most likely.
Yeah.
And I mean, that really is a problem, I hope, at one point, because I really want to upgrade before we go open with this. Because the development will take on a long time, and at some point we always have to update, because like the old versions, at some point they get more and more issues. That's always what happens.
I just hope they at some point fix those. Like, it is at least an issue that is currently being tracked. So
yeah,
on the GitHub project. So like the dude has his eye on it.
Yeah. Finnish takes us.
But we are currently.
Fish takes asks, considering the challenge of Crosscode being HTML5, what will you be using for your next projects? Also HTML5. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, it worked for Crosscode, it was successful, and we don't want to switch to another engine or write a new engine in a different language. Like, I don't know, we just want to work with what worked for us, and so yeah, we just hope things will hopefully not break down, but you know.
You never know. Maybe things start breaking.
Oh no.
No, but I feel like it's not like we're trying to make the next Final Fantasy, you know, and we have that desire to make the newest rendering techniques, which is totally feasible for the small team that we have. Like, no problem. Like, we just create these assets ourselves.
Yeah.
So I do that every day.
We will also create the best. What was the meme again? The best flower pot.
The best flower pot, yeah.
The best flower pot.
Yeah, it's so fun, like, because Final Fantasy XIV really doesn't look that good anymore, unless it's one of the dungeons. The dungeons still look fine, but the areas are often. There is, like, in Shadowbringers, there were these mountains where you could literally see someone took a fucking vertice and just yoinked that shit up. And so you have a very sharp edge suddenly. And it's just a triangle, and you can see it in the shading and everything. And I was like, they probably have like a poly count that they can go max, because the game still needs to run on a potato, I assume. But in the dungeons, they have more space, and usually those look prettier. Like, the characters obviously look very pretty because it's a Final Fantasy, and characters need to look pretty. it's a fashion game in some way. But it tries to employ like it doesn't just do over the top armor, like it also does like fantasy armor, like crafting gear, like woodsman gear and stuff like that is also part of their designs, which is always neat to see because like it's not flashy or anything, but I don't know, makes the world more believable if characters wear specific clothes when they are cooks or when they like work with wood versus stone and stuff like that.
Makes sense.
I appreciate that, the level of detail. Oh yeah, man. I literally, this is the chat. The current theme is the first outside area theme you hear in a Ys game or a Ys game.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. Like there's just a bob. You're just hyped when you walk through the area and slashing enemies. It fits the energy of the gameplay very well. I believe the current issue with Node version is that it like doesn't work on Arch Linux natively, meaning people have to manually update if they don't want the game to immediately crash. I mean, I would wait until we have like, as that the game is still down, like a while.
Oh, hey, Sizui.
Finnish Tix asks, how do you feel about web GPU? Do you feel like it will push the gap considerably? I don't actually know too much about web GPU. The last time I looked at it, it looked like something that was mostly developed for WebAssembly, and I'm not exactly sure if there even is an interface for JavaScript. The thing is, there's like WebAssembly, which is a whole different direction, but it has little to do with what we are using, because essentially you can just write the game in any other language that is compatible with WebAssembly, and then you can just compile it to that. So that's a very different approach. Might be very promising and might even be better if you really want to have high performance on the web. So maybe that's something for the future for us. I don't know.
I think we can keep an eye on it.
Yeah, the challenging part will be is like, can we use web GPU but still write nice editors with HTML5? I think that will be the challenging part.
Yeah, same thing with WebGL 2.1, I think. Basically, the next OpenGL standard will be implemented at some point.
Yeah, that's nice.
But it's experimental currently, and it's not fully feature complete and stuff. But
especially not in the Node WebKit version we use.
A random Sizui joined. Hi.
Hi. But the most interesting with WebGL 2.1 would be compute shaders.
Oh yeah. That sounds interesting.
Can be extremely powerful. Actually, for stuff like navigation and stuff, it can be used too.
Yeah, I think to be honest, like navigation is complex, but if we were fine in crosscode, we will be fine in Terra, because there was definitely, like, we had these NPC runners that were doing navigation, which we probably won't have in.
I mean, the thing is,
game.
like, the thing is, I actually can test the game on less powerful hardware, and the big difference is that web GPU really wants to have, like, WebGL really needs a dedicated GPU. If you don't have it, it runs much slower than crosscode, unless you reduce the resolution. That's why I actually added this mode of having just resolution reduced, and it actually runs surprisingly well then, like similar to crosscode, even on my Surface, for instance. But otherwise, like, apart from the rendering, I think a lot of things we are writing are more performant. Like, a big difference is that we can just merge all kind of props into a huge 3D mesh, which is then just sent to the GPU and rendered very quickly. And that allows us to use a lot of details, and we don't have to hold back adding a lot of props. And then we have shaders, which are better for generating rain effects and all these kind of things. And rain was hacked in a weird way in Crosscode, which ended up being very slow on certain machines. Unfortunately, never my machines. That was the downside. So, so I think it probably will run better for a lot of machines. I think, in the end. But yeah, like, yeah.
I just, if you finished, I just wanted to say like hi properly to Suzui, so
Oh yeah.
he can say something too.
Hi, Suzui.
Hello, it's been a while. It has been a long,
Been a while.
Mm-hmm.
long time. I figured I would jump into the chat a bit and say hi.
Yeah.
That's really sweet.
You know
Hi.
the Stained song, right? We all know the famous Stained song. It's been a while.
Now, yep, since I could.
Hold my head up high. It's been
Oh,
a
yeah.
while. Anyway, enough of that meme.
Mm.
But for real, it's been a while.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us about your life. Nice. Thanks for talking.
I am just watching this from Romania. I am still out here.
Mania?
Mania. What
Yeah.
the heck?
Yeah.
Are you
Romania.
are you
At some
vampire
point.
hunting?
Yes, I am. Haven't found Dracula yet.
I guess we should. We
Have
need
you looked
to
for
play...
Vampire Survivors? A hit game on Steam, by the way. Buy it.
Oh,
And rated positive so it stays at the second place on Steam forever, please.
I just want to say we need to play Castlevania music then, but I guess we can also.
Least
Like,
Like
no
no
shit,
shit, when I play Vampire Survivors, I always do that. I always play Castlevania music.
I should do that too.
That's a question. Do you know the question mark dot operator, Felix? I do know that one. I don't use it a lot, especially in code that should be fast. Because
Yeah, you shouldn't
at
do
least
that.
the funny thing is, it's actually supported by ECMAScript now as well. That's actually
But
new
we
thing.
can't use that because Node WebKit doesn't support it. The version we have.
Yeah, okay, like the version we currently have doesn't support
Yeah.
it. So, yeah.
So
That's
when you
why-
look at
I
the
looked for
code
that.
it
I
gets
looked for that.
turned
yeah.
into, it's kind of convoluted, right?
The question mark
It's not
dot
that it's
operator.
convoluted, which would be fine, but it's just slower that way.
Yeah, it's like
Which
it
is
does-
fine for like init code and like callback code, but
Yeah.
um,
But not something like usually the thing is I just try to avoid I use like the inconvenient method still just out of habit, because like obviously in a lot of situations you could as well just use, I don't know, for off, for instance, which is a nice way to loop through arrays and all that, but it actually is slower compared to just using a regular for loop. So I just tend to still use regular for loops a lot. It's just out of habit. It's kind of a shame that you have all these nice features, but they're always slower compared to the basic things. But
there's
I mean,
also something currently where we have the async and await keyword, which are supported by TypeScript, but because we use an older Node WebKit version, currently those are like the code generated for that is so weird, right? I have to like go check out the JS file in storage. No, what was it? Storage file or save file. The save file
engine or where?
JS file. Yeah, the JS version of that is ridiculous.
Storage JS?
Yeah, well, it's storage and then save file JS. And at the top you see this awaiter equals a function this storage save file.
Oh, it's in the features. Features.
Yeah, alright. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Storage save file. Oh boy. Oh yeah. The Awaker.
And this is because we use an older version. Obviously, the new ECMAScript supports the async and await. But because we use an older one, they have to like generate that code there, the promise code. Because I use this heavily, and they also use like the yield keyword, which I didn't even knew existed. I mean, I know what it does from other languages, but I didn't know it existed in JavaScript.
Okay, so I just made the destroy method, but I'm not sure if we need that, but I just added it to be sure.
If you don't pick garlic, if you do not pick garlic every time it shows up in Vampire Survivors, you are truly and utterly a disgraceful human being. How can you not pick up the best item in the game? Literally, now it also has an evolution. This is just...
Oh really? How do you get the evolution?
I'm
What
not
do you
telling
need for that?
It's a secret.
Oh,
I don't want to spoil
I
it.
tried to find it out. I found quite a few evolutions by now.
Enough.
I mean, like garlic also, like garlic is a good supplementary, like it's a utility item you pick up. Like garlic and King Bible together are very good at keeping enemies away.
No utility.
So yeah, by the way, we are talking about the game Vampire Survivors here, which is just a wonderful game that shows. By the way, a game that is also made in JavaScript using Electron, though.
Like $3. It's really good. I like it's a good like 10 to 20 hours of fun, I would say.
Yeah, it's a reverse bullet hell. But please do yourselves a favor and disable the damage numbers because they will kill your frame rate.
Damage numbers, but damage numbers are very important and must never be hidden.
I show you Vampire Survivors one day, and then you will say, "Oh, maybe damage numbers are unnecessary at that point."
I don't understand. Okay.
I don't. How can these words make no sense to me?
Yeah.
Like when certain, for example, manga use too many speed lines in the background because they are too lazy to draw backgrounds, and then Felix is like, too many speed lines. I don't understand.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna play around.
You need speed lines.
The only thing I don't really like it doesn't scale with the skeleton. Who's my favorite? Man, my favorite is the guy who starts with the garlic. Obvious, like it's an old dude and he has the garlic, basically saying, yeah, he's just a stinky old dude.
Oh, that was
By the way,
like
you said that the library is much harder.
No, what? No. I said the end game of the library is ridiculous.
Oh, okay. I thought you. Okay, I misinterpreted that. But yeah, the library is much easier for me.
And you get a free level up right off the start. There is a secret item there too that you can pick up independently of passives. Yeah, there is. Yeah, library. Obviously, like library is, I think, meant to be the easier route, especially for some characters. Like characters that start with, like the whip guy, obviously has a hard time on the first map because like he cannot attack down or up.
Yep.
You need something for that at some point.
But the library isn't unlocked at first, right?
Yeah. I mean, this is like super early access game, so and you can also see like when you buy it and when you play. Content? Like this game is has the best graphics and it's just wonderful. It's simple, it's powerful. I love it.
What game again?
Vampire Survivors.
Okay,
it's just you walk around. you collect weapons and they shoot automatically. You just need to
you
walk
just
around.
move. You just walk around. That's all
And
you do
then
in the game.
enemies come and you need to kill them, and they drop XP, and so you can level up and get more weapons.
Yeah, you
Okay.
actually
Super
have
simple.
to collect. You actually have to collect the XP, right?
Hmm.
Like they drop crystals and you collect them. You know, very much Valkyria profile flashbacks.
And it's very simple, but it's very well made.
Oh
And
damn.
it's
And it
just good
has
fun.
the highest dopamine rush you can get when there's a chest.
That's
The
true.
chest animation in the game is just the most over-the-top, ridiculous chest I have ever seen.
Okay.
That's very
It is
well
so
said.
stupid.
Ich schau mal ein bisschen. Damn. Okay, I can see why you want to disable damage numbers.
Okay, I get
Be
it
the
too.
bullet hell. Yeah, that fits it well. Like, just be the bullet hell. I mean, it's not... Yo...
Okay.
Ro, you're setting a low bar.
Better than Vampire Story. Yeah. Hmm?
I actually wanted to ask, but what is the connection to the Vampire Dawn series? But then I was like, okay, no, it's low hanging
None.
fruit, even for me.
And like Felix, look at the reviews.
Okay, I didn't look at those. Yeah, it's very positive.
Check out. Like,
Yeah, people love
Check-
this. Yeah.
people
cool
love it,
crosscut.
man.
Yeah, crosscode used to be that popular for a short time. Then people realized they hate puzzles and we made very hard puzzles, and now we're at 94.
Oh no! But hey, we are over 10,000.
One day we get that
Yeah.
person
So-
back.
Nah, that will never happen.
That will never happen at
We are
point.
definitely below
Make
94.
it happen, chat. Do it now.
Ugh. Yeah, we already had 95, 94 for a long time, and usually the average was below it. So I'm actually happy it stays at 95, 94.
Sure, it's all the fault of Linus Tech Tips because he sent all the scrubs our way and made us
Yes,
possible.
definitely, that's why.
And it's yeah.
He's such a sweet guy. He
He's such a
shows
sweet
off
guy.
crosscode so often where he's just
Yeah.
like, here's a new TV. That's what the video's about. But by the way, crosscode, right? It's a good game.
Yeah, I mean,
by
just
the way, let's
recently-
Nice.
play crosscode on it. It's like-
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's play crosscode.
I mean, just recently he showed it again for some to show off some.
Gaming on
graphic
Linux. It was actually
Yes,
gaming
yes.
on Linux. So
Right.
obviously, crosscode. You can play this on Linux. My personal favorite.
One of my personal favorites. It's like, man,
Man.
and it's still so funny. I mean, of course, at some years way back, we saw when he first gave us a shout out, and I was like, oh, who is that guy? Because I didn't know the guy despite being like super
Okay.
popular. It was like, oh, is it some Linux person or something? I was just like, and then I was like, oh, he has many subscribers. Maybe he is somewhat popular on the internet.
Maybe a little bit.
A little bit. Speaking of games, I beat a game.
You beat a game. Yes, please don't spoil. But I'm still playing it. But I still
Okay.
have to find the like bending Mega Rich. Damn it.
Oh yeah, the what's the exact name? The exact name is so great. I think it's Mega Rich Light Bending Guy, actually.
Okay. The thing is, does this game actually has like a quick travel feature?
It has.
Because the weird thing is, I saw it once, and you can access it through the map, right?
Yes, but you have to stand at a at the point where you can also quick travel to.
Oh,
That's the
yeah.
reason.
It-
Like, there's
Okay.
only 3 quick travel points. There's like the church,
Mm.
the main area basically, and the fishing village.
I see.
And you have to stand like in a certain spot, like in front of the church, in front of the shack that you can use in the fishing village,
Ah, okay, yeah.
and in front of the diner, I think. And it's a pretty small area.
And
where you have to
there's no indication where you have to stand. Okay,
Not really. At least I don't know about it. I mean,
for all the great thing about this game, like the technical execution of it is sometimes a bit messy.
I mean, there's still a lot of graphic bugs. For example,
Yeah.
I had like okay, this is not not really a spoiler. At some point,
I don't even know which game you're talking about.
Disco Elysium. So,
Disco Elysium.
Oh.
Yeah,
I beat it recently, and Felix is
Oh.
also still playing it.
I'm sorry.
There's some points, some point where you have to get into a car, and some others are getting into a car, and like as part of the in-game cutscene, you know. And basically, the character is doing the door opening animation for me to go in, but the door is staying closed, and they all just clip through the door into the car, and then they close the door again. But the door was never open. And that was like basically like a cutscene, a central cutscene, and like.
I mean, this can randomly happen with 3D.
Yeah, I guess, but it happened to me on the first try, and I'm like,
it didn't happen to me, so.
So I might be just unlucky.
The thing is also like I don't on what you played it, because I had the great idea to buy it for PlayStation 4, and the loading times are so freaking
Console
long.
scrubs.
I don't know. I should have bought it for PC.
PC, the loading times,
or like PlayStation 5, right? Because SSD.
Or I mean, if I would have one, sure.
Here is my PlayStation 5. If I had one.
Yeah.
Felix, if you were a mega rich light bending guy, you would have a PS5.
I probably would have multiple and try to resell them, you know.
And that's why you are mega rich.
Yes.
How to get mega rich is just scalp PlayStation 5s.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, but the loading times for PC, I mean, it does take a bit of time to load for the first time, but after that, it's pretty okay.
Yeah, like it's quite bad on PlayStation 4. Like whenever I change, I have to wait. Whenever you go to the big overview map, I have to wait like 20 seconds, 15, 20 seconds.
Oh, that's bad.
I don't know. So that's why also why it takes me longer to finish this game.
Yeah, that sounds pretty bad. And surprisingly, it takes like quite a bit of time for the game to close from the main menu.
Okay.
Which is like usually one of the things that is pretty quick for most games, but for this game it takes a surprising amount of time. It's like interesting. Yeah, but it's a great game. This for all its like. Not all its, but it has like
it has some technical weird things, but it's a great, amazing game so far.
It's an amazing game in terms of writing, in terms of how they how the writing is integrated into the gameplay, like how the dialogue trees work, everything.
Yeah.
Felix, are you also doing the politics, like one of the vision quests on the side?
I know I'm doing some side quests. I think I'm too balanced. Like I think there is a balanced political quest, and I might be doing that.
Yeah. You can be a centrist for sure.
Yeah.
All the 4 political alignments have like their own vision quest. It's called, I think.
Ah.
And all of them are really interesting from what I read. I mean, I did the communist one, of course.
Obviously.
Which is actually really interesting, but I also looked at the centrist and the fascist one so far on YouTube. And the centrist one also has like some really interesting aspects to it in terms of how it presents the lore and how it basically talks about democracy and how do you call it? Benevolent
Hmm.
Relevant.
violence, basically. It's like really interesting. Like, as in, you know what the powerful centrist force in the world is, right?
Oh yeah,
In Disco Elysium. So,
I have actually the achievement, the world's most laughable centrist.
Yeah,
see
I
it.
have that one too. You mean like the
Okay.
moralist, right? The moralist.
Moralist.
It's like when you defend the political center a few
Yeah,
times.
it's moralist. Moralist is
Yeah.
And I
basically
also
centrist.
my favorite is literally the sorriest cop on earth.
I also got that.
Apologize
Yeah,
10 times.
I also got that.
I think I rejected it at the end, and I kind of regret it. I should have just accepted it, but yeah, I'd also apologize too much.
I mean,
I
you
also
can accept.
but also I also have the biggest communism builder achievement.
Ooh.
I mean,
So-
that's the thing. You can accept. It's actually rather easy to get the achievements for all of them, and you don't even need to complete the vision quest. You only need to do like
It's
those
just like
dialogue
times,
options.
yeah. You defend the center 7 times, employ
Yeah, yeah.
critical theory 9 times, and stuff.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
You
I also
basically
have
need
the
to-
art cop one for
Right.
some reason.
Art Cop is, by the way, Art Cop is one of the most overpowered thing in the game because you get a sword that gives you 10 XP for every passive conceptualization skill check. So basically, you get the art sword, and then you push your conceptualization really high, and then you get like, I would say you get like 8 or so skill points just from that sword over the course of the game because you get so many, and you get healed moral every time. That's like really good. But no, for the achievements, you basically get them really quickly for doing dialogue options, which also is usually also when you get the sword for the ideology. But there's also, like for every ideology, you have like a so-called vision quest, which is which they only added in the final cut, which is basically line
Don't
for every
spoil it.
ideology. No, and it's not a spoiler. It's just how it is. Every ideology has a quest line, and they're all really interesting. They're actually not all straw men. I mean, you are usually the straw man, but because your understanding of the ideology is usually pretty wacky. But the way they explore, like the lore or the ideology, or even yourself in some cases, is really interesting. So definitely try to catch that one, Felix, and don't do it too late because there are some points of no return that also blocks away the vision quest. From what I noticed, that's so.
Doesn't matter. Don't do it. Don't do it, Felix. Play as if you would role play. Don't care about the quest.
Yeah,
Never
it's
do
true.
that.
That's true. It's
Okay.
actually.
I hate it when like you have a story game and someone tells you play in that certain way
True.
so
It's
you
true.
can get the quest.
It is true.
Because
It is true.
that takes away a little bit like the experience.
It's true. You're right. Especially for this kind of game, there's like definitely a point in just, especially in the way they designed it. They designed it so well that even if you fuck up all the time and if you just play without knowing anything, you still can beat the game and you have a really interesting gameplay experience. It's really well done.
Yeah, I can see that.
And I mean,
that's just the most fun you can have in a, like, for instance, I'm sure I missed like a lot of great stuff in Divinity 2 or original Sin 2.
I can see that.
But I was like, I stick with the ideology of the character that I've chosen, and act as if the character would act and don't do like stuff that wouldn't make sense for the character. Right? It was a character that didn't like authority, so it didn't make sense if I suddenly followed this leader because I don't know, it was a Thieves Guild leader or something, and I was like, nope. You're just as much an authority here as the fucking Order. You suck just as much. I remember they didn't like that. I couldn't. There was like a part in the game where you had like dwarves The whole whatever happens there, I have no idea because I fucked up the leader, or like I didn't bend the knee to him.
Yeah.
So he threw me out.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's happening there. I know that they are smugglers and something, but that's about it.
Yeah,
I loved it because then sometimes shit happens and the character comes back to haunt you.
Yep.
I love that. I live for this kind of experiences.
It's really
Anyway.
good, and it also makes the game flow really nice because you don't spend too many thoughts on what you do and you just play. It's like really good way to play stuff.
Yeah, I definitely.
No,
Yeah.
I just want to say about like Disco Elysium. It's more as a way of saying, man, this game is really well written, and the political side quests are also really interesting. That's so doing them. It's like so much fun, and also regarding like fucking up. I mean, I do remember that Felix, you said like in the last official dev stream we had. That you never found the bullet in the corpse, right?
I did find it.
Oh, you did find it. Okay.
Yeah, I think Stefan didn't find it.
Oh,
I
okay.
didn't find it, no.
Interesting. Yeah.
My character did not do well on getting the corpse down, and he puked all over when
Yeah.
he wanted to like check the corpse. Like he was not good at that.
I did puke
Yeah.
He was good at thinking and talking about high concepts, but
Yeah.
the nitty gritty was not his forte.
Yeah. I mean, that was also my character, but I was able to like pump enough into, I think, endurance, and then I did like some drugs, and then I somehow got it down.
Oh yeah, that was like one restriction I set to myself: no drugs, no drinking. Not at all. Even if I really want to know what happens, if I fail here, I fail, and we'll see what happens in the end. It happens a few times that I mess stuff up then. Which I think you can. If I remember, there are things you can redo with a higher cap. Right?
You have your white skill checks. You can redo
Yeah,
those.
exactly. Right.
Your white
so
and your red.
you can redo these. And usually the game also encouraged you to get a lower AC that you needed to hit by just exploring and finding out stuff, right? So you have like stuff you can say.
I mean, that's really, really nice. Really cleverly designed. A lot of the really crucial skill checks usually have tons of bonuses you can basically earn by just doing other side quests or doing other things within the side quest, within this side quest and stuff. Or like, I mean, plus you can always try to optimize your equipment to do the things if you need to, and like there's so many ways to still get through the really relevant checks to the few that you have. So
if you didn't play Lowe's stories, you certainly missed out something amazing, but the game offers. Yeah, I know what you mean, and I did play Lowe's story. She actually was my love interest, so I know all about her. If I think you mean the magician, right? The red hair magician. By the way, just to know, I played a very classic elven ranger, but with a crossbow.
okay, he's considered a rebel. He uses a crossbow.
The crossbow, like the original onset, like obviously was like the usual ranger bullshit, and then I'm like doing the game, helping someone, and suddenly I can grow wings and I can fly, and the game has verticality in it, which is just awesome. You just fly up somewhere and you have literally the high ground.
Then you're
That's
invincible.
why like. Oof. I'm looking forward to Baldur's Gate 3. If they like stopped working on the sequel to Original Sin 2 for this, like this must be a big game.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
I heard that it's supposedly really good from.
I know it's in early access, but I'm waiting, man. I want a full experience. Just I already set down what character I want to play. I want to play a white tiefling. I don't know which class, but it's going to be a tiefling for sure. Because it's been a while since I played one.
Now that I played through Disco Elysium, I can finally go back to Divinity Original Sin 1 to finally beat that one, or rather to finally continue that one, because I assume that I'm really far from beating that one still. But one day I will, because I also want to play the second one. But I want to play the first one
I mean, they
first.
don't have lots of things
Yeah.
together. Like,
Still, I want to play both, and I assume that the second one is much better than the first.
oh
So
yes.
I want to play I want to play the better one second. So I'm not annoyed by the first one being worse in small things or whatever. God damn it! But I also need to. I also want to play those. I still need to beat Lobotomy Corp and. Oh man, games.
There's so many games I should really play.
I mean, yeah, that's why. See, this is why I always say don't. Like, I know Felix doesn't do it. Like, distancing yourself from games media is helpful in not getting kind of guilt tripped into. Oh, I need to play this, right?
Yeah, but that doesn't really happen to me that much, thankfully. I mean, I do kind of follow games media, but usually the games that are talked about are like, yeah, okay, I don't care. Like, I mean, the games that I play, it's usually games that aren't really talked that much in games media. I mean, sure, Divinity and Disco Elysium, big darlings, but as with most big darling games, I play them like 2 or 3 years or even longer later after they've been hyped. So I'm not really all that big in like the games media FOMO, whatever you say.
You guys or the other game players, I'll just watch you guys play until something catches my attention.
Yeah, sometimes, I mean, I don't even know what makes me play certain games. I mean, sometimes.
I mean, I work 8 hours a day on a game. Sometimes I also just don't want to play a game.
It's true. Gaming NTR. That's. Yeah, I mean, I get it. For sometimes there are certain games that I think it's okay to just watch them other people play it on the side while you do something else. That's even if they have good gameplay. Sometimes you just are satisfied with watching them get played. It happens.
Yeah.
So I don't even do that all that much. So I'm not a big streamer person.
And also, like, personally, at this point, I have played a lot of games, and a lot of games are sort of similar. Like, just look at the insane amount of Metroidvania games we have.
It's true.
And if you played a few of them, you have played them all. And they're generally not, even in the indie space, this genre in particular isn't evolving that much. where I
Cool.
think like I have to play every game of it.
I mean,
Sometimes
those-
you hear
yeah.
about one game that is particularly good, and then you play it, right? And then you say maybe, yes, that was good. Or like for me, like Hollow Knight, for instance, I was like, this I could have lived without it. It's just another Metroidvania for me. The same with Ori and the Will of the Wisp. I started playing this, but I could just how the game, it looks extremely well, right? It plays very well, but I'm just so exhausted by the genre. It's always the same. You get a double jump, you get a dash. It's always 2D. And I understand, like, making it one dimension, even if it's still 2D, is already increasing the complexity. But you can still do it. Like, what's the game called? Unsighted. That's also a Metroidvania, but it has like another dimension, right? Hyperlight Drifter and stuff like that. That for me is more interesting. I want more games like that. Come on, indie game.
It's actually kind of funny. That's partially why I decided to do the top down for my game as well, which is still alive. We're doing a lot of re-engineering work, but yeah, that's one of the reasons why I decided to do that instead of the side-scroller Metroidvania-like ones.
Yeah, I'm currently playing Finn, Son of Crimson. You know, this
Yeah,
indie
right.
game.
Oh, yeah.
I actually supported that on Kickstarter, so I actually
Tell me about it.
I only
How do
played
you
it-
like it?
I only played it for like an hour, I think, or so.
Yeah, me
and-
too. But I want to hear your opinion. Like,
Look, my opinion is
if it's-
the thing is, so far in the beginning, it was very well polished, and I think there was nothing that really annoyed me a lot, but also nothing that really surprised me and wowed me. So I think it was just very solid and well made, but nothing really incredible happened so far. And I think it's partly because this game seems to be very combat oriented. Also, from what I read, some people write in the reviews, because I was wondering why it wasn't so positively rated as I would have expected. It kind of like, I don't know, I get the feeling like it may have been like the 2D perspective that held it back maybe a bit, or I don't know.
It also is like, at least for my 1 hour that I played, I felt like it is a bit boring, right? Like you do the
Yeah.
same things for a long time before something changes, and then that change doesn't really do much except give you more damage. What you can't see, you have no relation to that because you don't have a stat screen. The world is
Yeah.
built like Rayman, right? Where you have like
Yeah.
distinct level on a world map, and
Yeah,
then you can
that's
go
actually
back to unlock new paths and something.
Yeah, that's something I don't know, like I'm not a big fan of that in general. I really like more connected worlds, and this is essentially that just say no, it's like levels, like Super Mario, essentially.
Yeah, like
Ask if it even is a Metroidvania, because I played the demo a bit and it felt more like a platformer. Like a
Yeah, it is
It's a
more
mix,
a platformer.
it has some, like, I don't like the hit sounds. They are very like, I play with headphones on, like it's a little bit too crunchy, but it still felt great when you hit something.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of polish in the game. So
Yeah, like that one tree where and the animations in the beginning, lots of polish, like
Yeah.
very detailed animations, nice trees.
street.
I think
Like in the background.
It reminds me a little bit of Owlboy in that it has a lot of great presentation, and it seems like it would do better, but in the end, I don't know, like there's like something in the content which isn't as, I know, not intriguing enough to really stand out. Like Owlboy had this thing that was like, it looked very beautiful, it played good enough, definitely. It played nice. It's just that it just was kind of like nothing really surprising happened in there. And honestly, I personally would feel like challenged doing that with a 2D perspective, but maybe that's just me. But I kind of like feel it might be more difficult to make really interesting games in a platformer perspective.
Yeah. There's only
days.
so much you can do with in terms of puzzles, right?
Yeah.
There are some great ideas that have been made in the 2D space, but at this point we all know them, I feel like.
Yeah, but then there's I don't know, like there's games like I think there probably are still a lot of ways to make really interesting 2D platformers, like I don't know, god damn it, what was the
like
game?
the Game Maker Toolkit, for instance, does his game right now with like the magnet mechanic. That could still be interesting. But I remember like stuff that isn't even done that much is, remember in Valkyria Profile, in that when you played on normal, the extra dungeon where you had to use your ice blocks to like bounce the lasers off the walls. Back when I was a kid, I found that was super clever. Like I was like, oh, what?
Valkyrie Profile 2
so nice.
Also, Valkyrie Profile 2 also had super clever puzzles later, like jumping puzzles, jumping with your teleport beam and stuff like that. With the way that I don't know if you remember that. You had like your ice thingies, your ice crystals that you can make, but you also could like teleport around by hitting those ice crystals and get like an extra jump and stuff like that. And you could do so many super complicated ice jumping tricks in the later dungeons that were also pretty complicated. And that was like an RPG with a platformer on top. So it was when we're talking about like original platformers. By the way, speaking of Metroidvania, which also fits very well into what Stefan was saying, I actually also started playing like I don't know what is the developer called again. It's like this developer they did like this Toho game, this Toho Metroidvania, and this Record of Lodoss War Metroidvania. It's like it's basically everything this developer does, like Metroidvanias with super good pixel art and a very distinct style. You instantly recognize it. They also did like this, like a Konosuba Mega Man like game for that was like a free game for the Blu-rays or something.
This game.
Lunar Nights.
I want to play this game, and it is on Game Pass, but for some reason it runs with 10 frames.
Okay, that's weird.
I was like, I couldn't fix that, and I was like, all right, I'm like, I don't have.
Yeah, Team Ladybug. That's that's the developer name, and the game is called Toho Lunar Nights. It actually has some very interesting concepts with the time stop mechanic, but it also is a Metroidvania in a very typical way. Felix, stop right now. Look at line 99, Felix. What is there?
What line 99? What do you mean?
There's a var.
Unbelievable.
Felix.
He just wrote it.
No,
and line 101.
I didn't write this. This has been the code for a long time. Jeez.
Okay.
Come on.
Well, anyway.
Someone else did it.
This game was ported from JavaScript.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, and I just wanted to say, I don't want to talk too much about it. I just want to say that...
why is actually our soundboard not playing anything?
That's a good question.
Oh, yeah, right.
That's really weird. I think it just broke because like something couldn't play.
Yeah.
I'll just play something.
It's really interesting with the time stop mechanics, which is also nicely integrated in like platforming puzzles, like with how the water stops and you can use it as a platform. But at the end of the day, it's still a Metroidvania game, and despite me not actually playing a lot of those recently, I still feel like a lot of fatigue with that game when I play it. So I mean, I have fun playing it, but I really can't play it for too long before I'm like, yeah. I mean,
those games. I think those games like are built in a way that they facilitate. Like you can always go in, explore more. At least that's how I always felt about it. Like in like obviously the Igavania games are still like, for me, the kind of kings of making it feel engaging, but also because Like this dude, like he was so fixated on making sure that just walking around and the music were fitting well together, right? And that's why the characters always have this kind of jog animation, right? They have this because he felt like it should be, and the music is kind of always like dim 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 dim, and it always has like a walking beat, like you're always the walking man. Got no time to talk. Music's loud.
But then, ironically, you don't even walk that much later. You just backdash the entire time.
I mean, if you're a speedrunner,
Yeah,
I still
okay.
walked.
But I think in the Castlevania games that I played, I usually always backdashed when I had it. But I mean, maybe I'm just not
Goddamn it,
patient.
power gamers.
But then again, the backdashing around also felt cool. So it's not like it's not like I ruined my gameplay experience or something. By the way, quick aside, I'm just seeing that Joe Sierra, voice of Claude from Fire Emblem Three Houses, for example, is also streaming right now. But I'm not saying go there and look at his stream, but I'm just saying that because he had COVID and he is healthy again.
That's good.
Okay. That's good. He's a cool dude.
Did you see on Twitter that our chicken bro has the COVID?
Which
What?
chicken, bro?
I forgot his name. God damn it! You remember from Slack? The family dude who made the game with the chicken.
Yes, he did. Yeah, he did play female Byleth so he could date himself. He did that, yeah. I mean, could you blame him? Yeah, no, I don't know who you mean.
If I find the name, give me a second. Mick.
Oh, Mick. Mick has COVID.
Yeah, Mick has COVID.
But he is vaccinated, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't follow this man personal life. I just
I
saw
assume he is.
He has 50,000 tweets. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I have 1,000.
I assume he will get through that. If he's vaccinated, he should be fine.
I'm surprised you still have Twitter.
Huh?
I'm surprised you still have Twitter. I've barely seen your posts.
I mean, I post some stuff from time to time. But I don't know. That's like a social platform and all of these like.
I mean, Stefan basically uses it the right way, which is post like progress things and maybe look at nice things and retweet it, and not to like talk about private things because that's bad.
I mean, I don't think any platform that restricts the number of text I can write is a good platform for discussion.
No.
I mean, social media platforms aren't good for discussion, period. I mean, look at Tumblr. You could write like entire blogs, and it's still a shit site for discussion.
Yeah, also, it's also a point, but everyone could comment on something you write, and then I'm like, dude, are you even like, who are you?
I mean,
sure.
That's like the problem.
Oh, bro, stop it. No, you.
Every time it's like this one meme. Babe, wake up. RD posted something. This one, I'm not sure if you know that meme. It's like, babe, wake up meme.
No, Coach, no, I mean step music like Michiru Yamane, right? Like her music has always that forward momentum in it. It always like makes you want to go about and slay some monsters.
I posted it in Discord. It's basically wake up, babe, and then you say like, RD posted something or something. It's like, it's like a very popular meme.
I mean, that's why I do streams in Discord, right? So like people can see stuff and
the semi-official streams.
100% official.
They are official, but they're not getting.
They are as official.
They're not
as
the
these-
original streams, so
They are not. They are
They
not
are,
announced on Twitter.
yeah. Imagine it like that. All right, I'm a supercomputer, and you are a TA-82.
that's
Right?
okay.
You are the original Zeus, but I am a fucking NASA computer. That's how you have to see it. You are the original, but
But I won't.
better in every way.
the classics. We are the classics, and
By the way, this wasn't my joke. This is a rap battle of history joke. Before someone else comes in and actually, you just stole the joke. I know I did.
By the way, it's past 10, so that means we can talk about politics.
oh no.
Guys,
Okay.
something really interesting happened in Italian politics recently.
Oh no, you're gonna talk about this.
Okay, I'm not gonna.
Oh God.
I just wanted
Do
to
you
test.
have to?
I just wanted to test if people know what I'm talking about, but of course you do. That's good.
Of course. I saw
course.
some of the fan art that happened because of
Yeah,
it.
I mean, the best thing about it is the fan art. Like that. The fan art and apparently the voice actress of that clip got a lot of like requests from very serious journalists for comment on her influence on Italian politics.
Oh, seriously.
I mean, not like that. She described it as questions about the Senate incident or the Tifa incident or something. I don't know.
Mhm.
And it's like really funny because she's just like a hobby voice actress for like not safe for work clips, and now she gets like interview requests or something, comment requests from like a very serious journalist, PM or TM, yeah, PM, TM. Anyway, fun times.
Mm.
No, I mean it's not just loot fan art. It's also safe for work fan art that makes people question, hey, why does Tifa have like an Italian flag around her? Well, again, fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Also, have you heard of Activision Blizzard? Isn't that nice? No, it's
Oh
not.
yeah, that
What
is
a
like.
nice company.
Isn't that
Mhm.
nice? 70 billion
Isn't it actually
dollarinos.
Isn't it actually
And-
69 billion?
Oh my god. Sorry that I rounded up that
No, it's
1 billion. As if
It's
that
just a
makes a
billion.
difference at that point. Yes, it is 69 and holy shit, imagine that much money like oh my god, dude. You could literally end world hunger right now with that money. Like these numbers are so high, you cannot conceptualize them in your brain. You could not imagine how much that even is. So write that number down with all the zeros, and then buy 10 cars.
that
And see
reminds me.
how that value never doesn't change at all.
No,
Oh.
don't buy cars. Buy planes,
By
Yeah.
planes.
And see how it
Actually,
still
and
doesn't
not
change.
not just private jets or anything. Like the big
Okay.
ones.
Actually, that's like thinking about planes and buying them and all that shit. I actually read the book recently. I'm not sure if you heard about it. It's not the newest book. It's from 2008, and it's called Nudge. The book is called Nudge, and it's hella libertarian.
Like the dude notch.
Nudge, like to nudge something, like
Oh,
to move
I
it.
get it,
Like
I get it.
this book is mostly about how you can use certain techniques to impact and optimize people's decisions about things with the goal to make their life easier. And the overall idea of this book is, rather than restricting people and forcing certain options and banning other options, you give people options but use nudges to optimize their choices, because the book is very clear about most people are lazy and then don't make use of their options because they're too busy, and people are usually distracted and they don't do stuff. So it's very important to use good defaults. So that's usually what this book talks about. And you know, it was kind of interesting. It's like from 2008. It's not a news book. But I also realized, damn, those people who write this book, they must be very rich.
Of course.
Just because of the freaking examples they always bring. Like, I don't know. Imagine, for instance, you're in a restaurant and you have to think about what kind of wine you want to order. Or like what you kind of like doing this is the same as being in a restaurant and ordering like the 5-course menu and like an additional lasagna and all that. And I thought, yeah, that's like a thing I totally did sometimes.
No,
Or like, and like in Coding for Plates, like I think they said, like they seriously said, like, you should consider not taking the plane or even the private jet. And I think, oh, come on. Taking the private jet, yeah, that's definitely an option I'm considering.
I mean, that's the thing with those kind of books, talking about like, or trying to talk about like either self-help or like economy, life planning, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it maybe only works as a self-help book for like rich or well-off people, but it absolutely is completely out of touch with like the 90% of people who just don't have like good choices.
The thing
when
is,
they
this
plan
book,
stuff.
book talked about a lot of stuff, which is essentially public policy, and it was kind of weird reading this from a German perspective, because they definitely have, instead of giving people like a simple social security net to say, oh, you want to have like, you're like a senior now, so you should select the truck plan that fits your truck use. So here are like those 500 different truck plans. Please optimize for your truck use. And it's like, why would you do this? Why so much choice? Why do we need this? And they kind of like argued from this status quo and how to make things easier for people. And I mean, what they suggested, I guess, also works. I mean, they did quote several studies and real changes that made an impact and all that. So, but I don't know. It's like still a weird. This is 100%. We should maximize choice. Choice always good. Never forbid things.
Yeah.
It's like
The thing is, for this kind of shit, you waste so much resources on useless middlemen. If you
yeah,
and
it's
also,
like but you need this, Hannah, because capitalism and the free market. You know, Hannah.
there are certain things that people always need and that don't need choice. Like you always need water, you always need electricity, you always need healthcare. You don't need the choice.
Anna, I need my 500 choices of ketchup, alright? Or else I feel restricted in my freedom.
Yeah, but ketchup is like I mean, I'm gonna call it
ketchup-
a luxury good.
Ketchup
Not always-
actually makes sense, but yeah, like for
Yes.
stuff like electricity and water and all, like it gets really difficult very quickly.
And it's also difficult in a useless way, and you have to understand that people are stressed working. People work; they have limited amount of time to, like, think about those things.
Too many
and
choices made you like. There's studies that show that you literally get less happy if you have more choices.
That too.
So it's like, I don't know. I mean, I know that like having choices in competitions is in many ways a powerful thing. It just doesn't work everywhere, and I don't know. It's
like-
kind of like, it's weird. Like people often argue, especially when it comes to health systems, that they argue like for the United States it's broken because you have those insurance, and people essentially kind of like always use insurances that cover everything, so there is not this direct I don't know, costs of taking medications, so that's why the choice doesn't work properly, and that's why prices explode. And you know, but in Germany you have even less choices. You know, it's like this just, you just get the state-based health insurance, and you know, it's like they're all very similar as far as I understand. So
pretty much there are some minor differences
Yeah,
in
there's just-
like
Yeah, there's like so
Very
little
minor
difference,
things.
and we apparently have way less problems with ridiculous healthcare costs and all that. So
Because we don't. The main problem with I wouldn't say the main problem. There are tons of problems, but like one big problem with the American healthcare system is that you have like those middlemen that basically drive the prices up for everything, and that don't have an interest in negotiating good prices with the hospitals, which also is one of the factors that cause like the hospitals charging like those ridiculous prices for like simple procedures or super cheap like medicine, like why you have like stuff like insulin. Is it insulin?
yeah.
Being super cheap in Canada and like 5 times as expensive in the US for like the same stuff because of how the public healthcare system is better at negotiating proper prices with doctors and hospitals. And also, again, less middlemen that basically just suck away money without bringing any benefits. Because you have to remember that Americans are actually insured for way more money on average than Germans, for example. They pay way more stuff into the healthcare system, but they get less quality and less stuff out of it. And they still have to pay more stuff into it privately. Because the entire system just doesn't work. I mean, it works in making healthcare companies and hospitals rich, I guess, but it doesn't really help in like bringing healthcare to people.
Actually, one example that the book talked about with regard to healthcare is there's apparently this rule in United States that whenever you have any kind of insurance, you need to have the right to sue doctors in case something went wrong when they cared for you. So if there's some kind of negligence or what's called when they did something wrong during caring you, so you must have the right of suing them. And apparently that's one of the reasons why a lot of insurances are more expensive. So they rather mentioned you should make this optional, so people maybe should not be able to sue because it actually doesn't make a big difference, and it actually would make things much cheaper, which is interesting for a lot of people. And I just wonder, how's that actually in Germany? Like, do we even have that?
You can still sue people, but it's like we also have a different like legal culture when it comes to suing. Like you can still sue a doctor if he fucks up, but there is less money involved in the cases usually. But that's also a thing in like cases in Germany when you have like those lawsuits. The cases are much more moderate and much more like sensible in the amount of money that's going in. And in America, it's usually bigger amounts of money, but that's also because the lawyers want to earn much more, and that's why the lawsuit amounts are so inflated.
It probably also has to do with
middleman.
The general social structure, where in Germany, basically as a normal German citizen, you have healthcare, you have all these security nets in your life, right? So usually when you go about suing someone, it's probably something really fucked up, right? It's not like trying to get money out of someone, but trying to get justice. So money is maybe not even the problem, but it is literally like someone was dead because there was an old doctor who used and practiced that shouldn't be used anymore, right? There's this famous episode in Scrubs about that.
Yeah,
right?
I just want to say, do you want to? Are you thinking about this one Scrubs episode?
Yeah, I was thinking about that. Like this showcases for me, like, right? You don't want to have this doctor And rightfully so, he would probably sue because he was using something that shouldn't be used anymore. But I mean, people in America might also be more desperate, right?
Yeah. I mean, if
if I hear someone say, I would rather call an Uber instead of a ambulance.
because of how expensive the ambulances are. It's like
Yeah, like at the end of the year, by the way, chat, like this true story time. I got really sick, so sick that it felt certainly like I was dying, but I just had the stomach flu, thankfully, which was still shitty, but I did call the ambulance, right? I didn't pay anything for that.
no, because
got
it's
all the
like,
care in the world, like just the care that I needed. I wasn't worried about that, right? And now I imagine how would that be how would I react with the pain I had, right? And you still think, no, I can't call an ambulance. That would ruin me. Like, imagine that. You're feeling like you're dying inside. You cannot move, not everything, and you're saying like, oh yeah, I can't go to a doctor. Or like people, what I heard, like stretching insulin and stuff like that. Like,
stretching
just-
insulin. Yeah,
Like
it's
that
like,
is just
Jesus.
like what? like Like
Politics.
it can work. Like the idea, it's just as you guys said, right? Like the illusion of freedom in America is just from looking outside, it's kind of obvious.
There's
Even
like
if
this,
you have all these private options, you are limited in your options. You
there's
cannot
like
pick
this
them all.
this very common understanding that I always find interesting. This explanation that there are these concepts of positive and negative freedoms, and like I'm not sure which one was which. Give me a second. One was basically the concept that was it positive freedom? That you basically have no law that that forbids you of anything. Like the example is you are in a desert basically. You are in a desert and there's no state around that governs you. Like in theory, you have like full freedom because no one is telling you what to do. You can do whatever you want within your means. But your choices are starving basically or dying from thirst because you are in a desert and don't have anything. And it's like this American or like the American right wing understanding of freedom that the government shouldn't tell me to do stuff, but also and that makes me free. But it ignores that people that are super poor and don't have any laws or social security that protects them, they aren't free at all because they don't have any means to actually have choice other than well, either I work for like slave labor to survive or I die because I don't work for that slave labor company. And I mean that's the thing. And in Germany, if you think about it, you have way more real freedom. I mean, I wouldn't say in Germany overall, but like if you're a lower income person, you have way more freedom if you're in a state that has some social security because it gives you some real freedom to actually make decisions for yourself. Which job you will take, and if you want to maybe not take that job now and maybe wait another month to get a better job, for example. Or maybe go back to school because you can actually afford that. I mean, that's true freedom compared to like just not having any of that. Anyway, politics.
Yeah.
I need to read up on that again, which one was which, but there's like this concept of positive and negative freedom, and it's actually very, very insightful in that.
Oh, I found a bug in the clipping
Oh no.
code. It's not bad. It's not bad. It just doesn't render anything if the height that is clipped is bigger than the screen height. Then nothing gets rendered, which makes sense because then it's -1, right? In the shader, so it's discarding the fragments. Nothing too bad. We will never have that issue. So I just randomly found that we could, if we ever get to it, I make a comment for myself. Whew. Okay, continue, Hannah. Sorry.
No, I was actually done. I mean, I don't want to dig ourselves into the depressing politics talk too much.
Yeah.
I mean, we already just one thing I posted because you talked about like how it's impossible to conceptualize like certain amounts of money. I posted like this really good XKCD graphic again about money, which is basically that, trying to conceptualize money with graphics. And
Did you post it?
In Discord, in
Where?
Radical Fish Game stream. It's like dollars to thousands of dollars to millions to billions to trillions, and then having like those examples where you basically have like this comparison what
Wow.
one household is compared to like state budgets or like company budgets and deals, and then also some comparisons like, oh, you would need this and this money to solve homelessness or something, and right next to it, oh yeah, this one deal between those two companies could like solve homelessness or could solve world hunger or whatever.
Yeah, right. And that there you, when you see these things, you think to yourself like,
yeah, the
right.
rich.
So,
I mean,
but
sorry.
where is that money, right?
Yeah, it's true. It's on the blockchain.
Where actually is the physical manifestation of that money, right? Of that value somewhere. Someone needs to have it, right?
Everywhere.
Classically, it's everywhere, and with the richest, obviously.
No, I mean,
but in such a fashion that you think to yourself like, if one person has so much money that taking half of that wouldn't change their life in any significant way other than them losing prestige, right? And that alone
80%.
is obviously is apparently enough for them to not help society or help people, because it could set a precedence, right, on for rich people actually helping. And it always needs, and it's not like this is the first time this happened in history. Like, as they say, history keeps repeating itself.
Yep.
I hope I see it get to a nice crescendo when I'm older. Hopefully I can still see it happening.
Well, either that or we reach the climate change tipping point before that. So whatever.
Oh boy.
I hope I can see that too.
I mean, it would be nice to see it to see it get reached, and then when the evidence is truly like feelable to people, then we just line all the people who like blocked climate change prevention measures up on the town yard and kick them in the balls or something.
Just as a reminder, I have a friend who's comparatively young to me, right? Like, is like 19 years old. I'm 31.
It's a baby.
It's a baby. It's a babe, right?
It's a baby. From
And
Metroid Other M.
they never experienced a winter with snow.
Wait, really?
In terms of like snow enough that you can literally roll around it, like I had in my childhood. I had to like clean the walkway in front of our house because there was so much snow. They never experienced that, and you want to tell me that we don't feel that already?
We do. I mean, there are measurable measurements.
But you
of
know,
it.
natural cycles. I think the
Natural
reality is that we are actually towards one of the colder natural cycles. So it's actually naturally getting warmer rather than colder. And I mean, and like it would be naturally, it would go colder, but instead it's getting warmer. So it's more
So
like.
much for that.
But
Yeah.
that is to people who deny that, they then say that's not true, right? Because
Yeah.
It's still winter and
Um,
it's getting colder. What are you talking about? Something like that.
yeah, but
No,
it's
I
getting
mean,
colder in
seriously.
places where it never got colder. So
I mean, yeah, it's also.
it's a little bit weird, don't you think?
Good old Texas last year.
Oh yeah,
Oh, boy.
Texas. Good old Texas. Best state in the with their great power grid that is not connected to other power grids because move freedom, and then it collapses because no connection. No connection.
Actually, as a citizen of the United States, Zoe, what is
Yes,
your
I am.
opinion on America's involvement in climate change?
Oh yeah, climate change. I mean, we're all involved.
It's so watching the involvement or somewhat lack of involvement is very interesting in the sense that I'm not seeing good things happening in the future unless
That's yeah.
To be perfectly honest, it's not just America. It's like it's all over the place. Like it's so hard for people to make good changes because it feels like too much is depending. Like the way our economy runs right now is just so not at all compatible with what needs to happen. And I think
it's all trimmed on efficiency.
I mean,
Right,
powers in place, certain powers in place that wants to keep the status quo.
But you gotta realize, if we tackle climate change, then our electricity could become like 10% more expensive. And I mean, saving the world isn't worth that.
The thing is also like when I hear like there are these, like, I agree, there are probably like a lot of very rich white dudes who have a problem with spending a fraction of their money to better the world, and they probably think it doesn't concern them, right? But here's the thing, like, if they want to keep this status quo, they're setting themselves up for failure, right? Maybe that's kind of where I think this all stems from. Maybe these people that have this control, that much control, like Bill Gates, for instance, once said, right? He said that he has more control over the American politics as he has now, as if he would be a president, right? Because he has money.
Yeah.
And he built these private schools, for instance, right? And governs what happens there. And if you, right, you maybe don't see the world go down because you're already older, right? If you're like 50, you're probably like, I don't care, I have all the money in the world. But like the future of humanity, right? Maybe your kids, your grandkids, if you have any, will be left with whatever the boomers leave behind, right? Because all of them will be gone at some point.
Yep. Oh no, I can't live without the boomers. Yeah.
It's also what annoys me is also this kind of inacceptance of that generation, that stuff might not have gone as well as it could have, right? It's not about like pointing the finger and saying you are
right.
responsible, right? And you are the bad person here. It's more about you should acknowledge that shit happened and that things need to change, right?
Yep.
But nope, it's then often you get called entitled, right? You never had to work as much, and I'm just laughing because I feel like I have to work twice as much to make the same money you did, right? Comparatively.
True. That's true. It's case
Like
in-
I cannot afford my own home. I cannot afford even a car. I pay a lot of rent. That alone, like rent has gone up, while pay doesn't go as much up, right? Not necessarily because like companies can't they couldn't even pay you more if they wanted to, right? Because they are on a budget too.
Yeah, no, Stefan. It's actually that our evil boss doesn't pay us enough.
Yeah,
Come
like
on,
Felix.
guys.
We should
Yeah,
punch him.
coin. No, I'm
Seriously,
super happy.
guys.
I'm super
Yeah,
happy.
of course.
I am very privileged. I gotta say that I'm very privileged. and,
Yeah, we are very. We checked our privilege box.
Yeah, and like, but I see
I'm not
how
coding
other
at all,
people.
by the way. I'm not coding at all. I
Yeah,
just
you're
realized.
just scrolling. I
yeah,
see
I'm
it.
just
I see it.
scrolling. The thing is, I'm. It's too complicated doing this in the stream right now. And anyway, we can just talk and end it in like 50 minutes or so. So
Yeah, it's already pretty late.
yeah.
Oh shit! Yeah, it is.
Why is Stefan still here? I wanted to talk
Yeah.
about anime. No,
I should
okay.
probably go to bed. I need to sleep. Sleep the good sleep.
Fight's a good fight, sleep's a good sleep.
Well, I did make a
Yes.
bit of progress, not a huge amount. And unfortunately, I can't show anything. But essentially, I'm starting to create some classes so you can actually build your navigation map in the editor, and that's usually complicated stuff. So that's why you can't see that much. Actually, maybe I can at least quote this and this.
Code this, code that.
Aw. God damn it. Can I still do it?
Can you?
Yes, this one.
But yeah, anyway, I probably should go for real and sleep.
Sleep. I mean, I
Well
I
done.
also don't want to
Good
make
night.
do that
Well.
much longer
Thank you.
because
And thanks for the talk. It was nice.
it was
Yeah.
Talking
fine.
politics can be nice.
Good night.
Good night. And
Bye.
have fun, chat. Bye bye.
Bye. No, I watched an anime, I think.
You watch
I
an
watched
anime.
I finally started watching Nagatoro, actually, if you know the one. It's like one of those rom-com anime that is centered around guy or somehow anxious guy dude.
Yay, I got top up here. So that's the big change. I have a top button here now.
Okay,
And
nice.
that's about it. That's the
Yay.
feature.
You are a
It's-
feature.
I know.
Yeah, Nagatoro bullying the anime, right? Bullying, quote unquote. I mean, it has become a very popular subgenre. Like having like your anxiety guy who starts getting into a relationship with a bully girl. Not really bully, but more like a girl who's very extroverted with him and teases him all the time and stuff like that.
Okay.
But it can be a really good series, like a really good concept. There are several of those series. Some of those are actually really shitty, from what I hear. But that one is actually really good. It's really fun. And also on the side note, Flora,
Yes.
you have watched Rent a Girlfriend, right?
I think I stopped at some point
Yeah,
because it was obnoxious.
Yeah. I mean, I've never read it or followed it, but have you heard about um, uh, a recent manga chapter that has like created a amazing meme?
No.
Okay, I'm
just
just gonna talk about it because it's super hilarious. Felix, you will also find it hilarious, I'm sure. Basically, the main concept of the series was that some dude basically pays a girl to pretend to be his girlfriend, right? For some reason. That was the main concept, right?
Again, can
Yeah, he was like very insecure and stuff, and
Yeah, right.
thought, oh, that will look good on the outside, but yeah, he tells himself, of course, I won't fall in love and stuff. I know.
And then he falls in love, and then
Yes,
stuff like that. Yeah, of course. Anyway, in some recent chapter, it's like I'm not sure which girl it is. If it's the girl he paid or if it's some other girl. They're basically going steady, I guess, for some time because it's like way past of when the anime ended. And yeah, she also falls in love with him, of course. And then, for some reason, they have a misunderstanding, and she basically says goodbye to him in some way that he misunderstands as her breaking up with him and going out with some hottie boyfriend or something. And then, again, I haven't read the series. I just followed the meme and read that one chapter. And then there's this one chapter where he basically spends like 8 pages of it imagining how this girl that he is crushes on now, that I guess he also paid to be his girlfriend for some time, basically has sex with like some hottie guy while he is depressed. And he's depressed while thinking about it the entire time. And then he's in some swimming pool. And God, I need to get to know your meme because the panel is just.
I need to see that panel now.
Yeah, I need to post that page. It's hard to know your.
Can I show this on stream or will this be blocked?
On know your meme, there is a censored version.
Okay. But you need to send me. You need to send me a link at least.
Yeah. I'm sending it.
Oof.
And that's a page of this chapter. And that page has been memed to hell and back, and I'm absolutely living for it.
Okay.
He's basically floating in the swimming pool water, thinking about it, and just crying like the most pathetic ass. It's like,
wow.
The manga artist just had to also draw him have a boner.
Yeah, and having, god damn it, wow,
it's so fucking amazing. Yeah, it has like an entry on Know Your Meme that explains it way better than I can, I guess.
God damn it.
And it's there's like so many memes about it that basically set in other characters into the like, for example, here's like this Kaguya version which is like completely stupid. It's like, yeah. And my the most obvious and also one of my favorite variants is like the Attack on Titan variant.
Okay.
But that sadly only makes sense if you saw the manga ending of Attack on Titan.
Ah, damn it.
I haven't yet.
You haven't yet. Yeah, that's why I'm not sharing it. But it's like one of the most obvious ones, it's also one of the funniest ones. Because Attack on Titan, without spoiling anything, also has like a really part of the ending is also very meme heavy, and it goes into a similar direction.
Look at this. I think someone wants to hypnotize me to follow him.
Who?
Like this Jack Rose Code Morant guy who also subscribed today.
Okay, maybe.
He makes his goal that his account is the one only CrossCode X Jamarant fan page, ONG. I know bro, Sevens want to follow. Come on now, ONG. Like he wants to be followed by us, and then he wants to be followed by Jamarant, I guess. I think the latter might be much more difficult.
I see.
I mean, I can just follow him, whatever. So then he's happy. Wait, that's the wrong one.
That's a good idea. That's like, yeah, do him. Also, yeah, something that also makes the Rent-A-Girlfriend thing extra funny is that apparently the discussion around the chapter got so toxic that the English fan Discord had to ban discussion on the manga chapter during the week when it was released. Which is like funny because like a manga Discord is for discussion of the manga, but they banned discussion on the manga for that week because the discussion became too toxic.
Yeah, boy.
And also, it apparently one aspect why it became so toxic was it became toxic for the worst way basically, because some fans were like, "Oh no, the manga showed how my waifu in the series had sex with someone. I don't like that. I hate that." Like
that's like
the incel vibe.
Yeah, that's the same thing why on Christmas all the VTubers have to stream and all that.
Yeah, that's like this.
Same story.
Oh, Felix, you brought up VTubers for the first time in this.
And I already regret it. So
yeah, Felix, did you know that? No, but it's yes, that's also a fun thing that it's not really a VTuber who said it. It's like it is like a VTuber, but the account is more like a Japanese girl who lives in Germany and does like small videos about like Japanese and German culture and differences and stuff. And she has a VTubing avatar just for the visuals. And yeah, there was like this video where she explained that many VTubers take great care to actually stream during Christmas because that's like the primetime sex hours in Japan to show their viewership that they don't have sex with their boyfriends. So the viewership doesn't get angry about them potentially having boyfriends.
Because they need to keep the illusion.
Yes, and apparently there are people in the Japanese VTubing fan base, like the hardcore idol type fans, that have like spreadsheets checking who that didn't stream on Christmas to slut shame them for potentially having boyfriends or something. I mean, I've never heard about that before. I'm not sure if that's true or if it's still true, because from what I heard, like that part of the culture has become less prevalent in the VTubing sphere. From what I know, my experience. But when I heard it, I just had to laugh out loud because it was like the worst stereotypes on crack.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very, very sad people, that's true. Oh yeah, that was like a really cute fan artist. Oh, they're still active. That's nice. I need to. They're still active. I haven't seen a fan art of them in a long time.
Yeah, they recently made one for Meckle.
Oh yeah, right, because Meckle is such a Buggy fan.
Yeah, huge Buggy fan.
Huge
wow,
Buggy
what's
fan.
this? Oh my gosh. A a buggy shrine.
Buggy what?
She has a buggy shrine now, or like an image of Buggy in real life.
Echo?
Yeah, I saw it shining on
Oh
screen.
yeah.
Nice.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. Yeah, but Felix, that account also had some other nice videos actually that were really
Okay.
interesting. Like especially the stuff, of course, where she talks about stereotypes or like things that she finds strange about Germany and stuff like that. That's always funny in terms of like foreign perspectives on Germany and things like that.
Yeah,
And she,
that's-
of course, talks about Tatort. And she's like, oh,
There's Tatort.
Tatort. And apparently everyone watches Tatort. I mean, not really anymore, but I mean, it's still a big thing.
Yeah. I actually recently got a whole bunch of recommendations, at least one series and a movie produced in Germany or close by and apparently good, like by my mother, and maybe it's something like The Pass, which I still think is very good, by the way. So
That reminds me, the entire
There's the
internet.
second season of that, right?
what of
Of
what?
what?
Der Pass?
That pass. Yeah,
Seriously?
Nice.
I saw an advertisement for that.
How is that even? Does this make sense? Okay, I mean, to me it was pretty closed. Oh, wow, really? They do that? Oh boy. Okay.
Oh,
But the best guy is not there. So wait, what? 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 How do
What?
they do that? No, that doesn't work. Did you see the pass?
Nope, not yet. I
Yeah,
forgot
because-
about it until now, and I instantly remember what you.
Yeah, but this
But you liked
this
it and-
why how okay, I don't know. Like this didn't feel like something where you make a second season. Like I don't know. Well, they may have.
Der Pass, yeah, I've heard about that. Yep.
At that point, I like this a lot actually. Like I don't know, it's just had like the acting, but you need subtitles when you watch this unless you know how you can understand all these Austrian accents and all that. So
Okay, I see. Austrians.
definitely watch it with subtitles.
Yeah, I can. Once when I checked what the VTubing board on 4chan was doing, I saw a post trying to figure out which Hololive Indonesia girls were virgins. Yeah, that kind of stuff. I mean, I hear that 4chan is also really bad with that kind of shit. Man. And the answer is probably none of them, because they are real people. Also, the entire internet tells me to watch Arcane, which
Yes, Arcane is. Really
yeah,
good.
it's really good apparently. I mean, I saw some
It's
clips
surprisingly
and
good.
yeah, and I'm like, oh man, I don't like League of Legends, but apparently it's still a good series, even if you don't like League of Legends.
I didn't know nothing about League of Legends, and then now I kind of want to know more about it.
That's the whole idea.
Oh, don't fall into the hole.
No, the thing is, Arcane is much like the whole characters universe, outfits, everything is much better than like the game and stuff.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I mean, I will probably watch it at some point because, like, a lot of people that I actually trust who are also not into League of Legends are like, yeah, it's a very good show. It's like super good.
Yep.
Oh.
So with me, you have another one.
Who said that I trusted you? No, it's true. The audacity. Yeah, I mean, it also looks very good. Like the clips that I saw of it, like super good animation quality and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
it didn't even have a super high budget, so it's like very cleverly done from what I hear.
Yeah, very like apparently people haven't been paid that well either. So
That kind of stuff. I mean, but that's just anime, sadly. I mean, I've recently, I don't know if I ever talked about that, but I have like seen some graphs about how much certain positions in animation companies like earn. And like your typical animator like earns like less than just some student doing part-time work. And
Yeah.
it's like, and keep in mind, those animators are working full-time and often overtime. And they basically can't live from what they earn, so they have to live in like small apartments that get financed by fans doing crowdfunding to to finance like animator housing or something, which is like, god damn it, it's like pretty
Wasn't that a
ridiculous.
recent project that kicked off as well?
Oh yeah,
Or recent
yeah.
initiative?
Those it might be one of those. I think there are even several of those. I know that there's one that is specifically for Studio Trigger, I think, but I think there are several that do like crowdfunding to help basically to help the animators to survive, because it basically is about survival for them, because they just don't earn enough from their wages to just live, to like rent a house. They basically have to either like live in some sponsored apartments or they have to live with their family. Otherwise they can't survive on the wages they get.
Yeah, that's the entertainment industry in
Yeah.
many ways.
Yeah, but this is like extremely harsh, especially because they have to live in Japan, and Japan is expensive, and it's not like the next konbini or convenience store or whatever gives them food just for free because they animate nice. It's like
Yeah.
It's all your fault, Felix, because you believe in capitalism.
I know. Freaking capitalism.
Yeah, freaking
The
capitalism.
solution is very easy. People must start hating to do this kind of work, and then they need people to do that, and they suddenly start becoming expensive.
Animating has to become as fun as like
tax reports.
Accounting.
Accounting, exactly. That's the easy solution.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like that's a messed up thing.
Yep. Oh no, Felix.
Yeah.
So basically, we will all get paid more when we say, "Oh god damn it, we hate our work."
Yeah.
That's how capitalism works.
Yeah.
Supply and demand and stuff like that. Oh, by the way, I already mentioned it in Discord, but during playing Disco Elysium, I was like, man, this reminds me so much of The Wire, because of the whole, or rather, the second season of The Wire, because of the whole union using like drug trafficking to finance like their political goals. And yeah, apparently it's heavily inspired by The Wire. So
in case you didn't notice, I'm drawing a high quality Uno.
No, I noticed that.
You know.
Yeah, I know.
High quality Juno, I guess.
So. You know about this? You know the way? Oh, also, oh damn, Stefan is gone now already, but there's also like this animation series of Critical Role Campaign 1 coming out soon, at some point, and I guess I can watch that instead of watching like the 600 hours live streams. What a deal.
Noise.
By the way, what else did I play? I think I played something else. Yes, I played Arknights. It's very fun. It reminds me.
But also too much talking, I heard.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I mean, you can just skip it. But I mean, there's an event currently, an event that's actually really nice, and it has like a lot of very pretty girls in bikinis. So I actually want to see the cutscenes because of the dialogue, you see.
Sure, obviously.
Yeah, I mean both. But man, I mean, I'm a rather quick reader, and I usually read very quickly by like flying over the text and not going over every word, and just to get the sentences, the meaning. That's okay.
Mm.
And it still takes like 10 to 15 minutes for a fucking pre-battle cutscene. It's like, man, come on. That's way too
Oh,
much.
boy. Okay. I don't know what I will do with this Uno, honestly. I just threw this now and I think it's done.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like the
I think I'll just make a question mark next to it.
question mark box.
I think this defines the character very well.
Yep. Oh, by the way, Felix, did you see this one image that I sent you
Yeah?
recently?
No? Which one?
Where the recent one, where because you once asked, man, how many VTubers are there actually?
Oh no.
And
Too
that
many.
and that's just HoloLive.
Please make this into an emote.
Oh, you mean yeah. The,
Yeah, one, yeah. No,
I mean,
not the
could
Vitaverse.
be. Yeah, I mean that's a bit too big for a remote, I think.
Yeah, you wouldn't see anything.
I'm not sure what
you
you
would just see rainbow, essentially. That's all you would see.
But Felix, the rainbow is the Niji Sanji symbol. That's not HoloLive.
But it's just rainbow colors everywhere, so...
There's not enough. There need to be more, Felix. Even more will debut in the overtime. And one day you will be like, okay, this one I actually like. Now I will follow VTubers.
Yeah, sure.
Or rather, one day, one of them will say, oh, what is this game called Crosscode? I actually want to play it. Because I like pixel games.
Maybe this will happen. I don't know.
Well,
I
one
doubt
day.
it. At least we got the new Silver Gunner remix now.
Right,
Nice
right.
one.
That's really... did you actually play it?
It was so fun.
I played it in the beginning,
Yeah, nice.
including with the modified stream is about to start image that I still had ready.
Oh,
Because that's actually already the second jam remix of a Crosscode song.
yeah, but the other one was... Wait,
Was-
you're right. It was by someone else, right?
I think Dennis himself did it actually. He made
Oh,
it.
yeah, true.
So okay. I guess that's it. Here we are. That's all. That's a stream. So I did some coding more or less. Did draw a funny Juno and yeah. You're welcome. Okay.
Before we stop, here's some nice thing that I want to post in Discord.
Yeah. Okay.
The crypto bubble might be popping. That would be nice.
If the fruit finally could stop with that, please. Yes.
With everything.
But now is a good time to buy.
Yeah.
So, the whole thing starts. over.
Like before, yeah. One last before we stop, or rather two last before we stop, and there's something else I need to do real quick.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, hearing the Undertale track. Felix, when will we finally have crosscode tracks being played for the Pope?
Not likely, I'm sorry. God damn it, Undertale gets everything. So,
is it play top or play? Okay, skip. And I just wanna share another. Just want to share a nice video in. I'm just gonna share it in the chat.
wow, this has been a long time since we did the stream drawing. So, this is actually now Terra Uno question mark.
Yep.
Can I make a save with a question mark in it? We will find out.
Don't think.
No, we don't.
No, I don't think that works. Holding Ideas made a rather comprehensive video about NFTs.
Who made one?
It's very informative, also funny, and goes through very many different aspects of it. Why they don't work. Folding Ideas. I forgot what his name was. He's actually rather popular. Dan Olsen, right? But the problem is the video is 2 hours and 20 minutes long.
Oh boy.
Almost. I mean, I watched it completely on the site with like 1.5 speed. Again, super interesting. It's very comprehensive, very well argued. A lot of great examples. And Felix, your favorite anime YouTuber is doing a voiceover part in it. That's actually super funny. Like Mother's Basement is doing a voiceover for the NFTits project. Which is a thing that exists.
Okay.
Right. I shall crash. I will see you all next time.
Yeah.
Alright. I'm about to actually
bye-bye.
post like a small
Yes, post the link.
to
Please post the bitmap.
Okay, let me see. Get link.
Get link.
Change to anyone with link. So,
Oh, no, I don't want to.
and we still got a PSD. Here you go.
Yay.
So,
Oh,
no bitmap, sorry.
no. Felix, now now that you posted like a JPEG, now people can just right-click save.
I know. That's the idea. It's totally fungible, guys. 100%.
One thing, you do know, Felix, you do remember Gapzilla, right?
Yeah, I do.
She's now also one of those who got her entire DeviantArt gallery basically stolen and minted by some douchebag and put on OpenSeas. Because it's happening to basically all the fan artists now.
Okay.
Yeah,
great. Definitely helps artists.
Yeah, it definitely helps artists. That's how it works.
So much helping.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. That's the concluding of our stream, finally. So, thanks everybody for watching. Hope to see you again next time, whenever that is. And maybe then the official production of Project Terra has started again, so we can show new exciting Terra stuff then. So until then, yes, see you around. Let's play some Seinfeld. Oh, we don't have the music bot.
Oh yeah. Wait, I'm gonna play it over the music bot.
Nah, it's okay. Let's not do that. It will take too long. I think.
Felix, look in Discord. I just checked something real quick.
Oh yeah, I know. Like, Hall of title screens. Of course, there's fucking crosscode NFTs.
And a mobile card. Crosscode on Steam. Well, you see.
It's
okay.
It's amazing.
Give me just 1 second, Felix. Give me just 1 second, and I will fudge us. I will mint us an outro theme. Okay.
Okay. Thank
Okay.
you.
That's
Alright,
it.
that's it. Our game the stream is over, everyone. Every
Yay.
ball.
Every ball. All
Yeah.
terror very one.
And since I didn't say it loud enough before, so Happy New Year, finally.
Yeah.
Let's hope that this year will be exciting for whatever we are working on, and hopefully things
Yeah.
will maybe get better with regard to stupid pandemics. I still don't know how this will ever will return to normal, whatever. Okay, so let's wrap this up. So see you until next time. So bye bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Stan Takanashi Kiyara.
No.